Hello and welcome inside the scores table 3A, 4A Semistate Championship semifinal. Oh my God, Danny, we're off to a rousing start.
Good start.
Semistate preview edition for the big schools. I'm Brian Haenchen. He is Danny Riego. I am running on fumes and ready for a day off. Danny is chomping at the bit to get this thing going. We have a good guest list lined up for you guys tonight. We're going to start with 3A here in the first hour. Washington coach Gretchen Miles, Roncalli coach Jason Sims. From Northview, we have Carlee Schrader and Reagin White. From Fairfield, we have coach Kyle Hartman and senior Eva Herbert. Then we're going to wrap up 3A with Laine, Lyles, and Bill Murchie from Culver Academies. From the 4A South, we'll have Seminole Grove seniors Haenchen and Ella Sprong, Jerry Hickey, and Elise Coleman. And then we're going to round things out with the 4A North roundtable. Reggie Tharp from Snyder, Joe Huppenthal from Lake Central, Kelly Kratz from Valparaiso, and our friend Brian Satterfield from Hamilton Southeastern will be with us to break down the Class A North festivities. For those who are looking for the Class A 2A stuff, you can find that in the episode that we recorded last night. That's on the YouTube page and channel, so don't yell at us for not covering the small schools. I swear to God, we did it for like 2.5 hours last night. So go check that out. There's lots of clips on social media as well. Danny, we're going to open the show in the 3A South with interviews, so I think that's where we should go here for the first 5 to 10 minutes of the show. Washington-Jennings County, then Roncalli, Northview are your games there. That first one, I went through my predictions today. I have no idea what to make of Washington versus Jennings County, and I say that because every time I think that Jennings County is overmatched, and on paper it looks like maybe they'll be a little overmatched against the Washington team with some good depth and that plays pretty efficiently on the offensive end, they find a way to not only win, but to win decisively with Molly Ernst just doing something ridiculous, be it those 11 assists against Greensburg, the 20-something points, and however many assists she had last week. And I just know that she's going to do something crazy again on Saturday.
Let me ask you a question. Is that opinion that you have or confusion that you have in this game, particularly surrounding Jennings County, is that just Molly Ernst, or are you also confused because Eddie Young and Riley Byford are also starting to make plays too? Or is it just like, because Molly's so centric on everything, we're talking about like Lanaya Wills yesterday or 2 days ago, whenever it was when we were doing the Class A stuff. How much of that is Molly? How much of that is the rest of the roster?
It's probably the rest of the roster that has me the most confused when you frame it like that. That's probably a better way to frame what I'm feeling, because it is like everybody stepped up. And I take it back even to the Warsaw game at Sneakers for Santa, where it was kind of everybody from what I remember chipping in, because that game, again, Warsaw is one of the best teams in the state. They're eliminated now, obviously, but Jennings kind of was coming off the loss to Cathedral, which in hindsight, and they talked about this in the show last week, but turned out to be a turning point for that group in their season. Kind of a wake-up call, a little kick in the butt, and you look at them now, I mean, they stand just as good a chance as anybody win that thing, and it is due in large part, like you said, because of the depth that they've developed and the supporting cast around Molly.
I think it's difficult to guard Molly with one. So you can turn your defender and turn her to help and all of that, but historically this season, like, she's going to beat that defender. So if you go like over exaggerate and close the gaps on help line, there's your second defender. If you junk it and go box and one, the one obviously is already matched on Molly, but one of the box defenders is there to double too. So Washington is not alone in this, right? Depending on how Jennings County, how far they advance. But guarding Molly with one has not ended well. But dedicating 2 defenders to Molly, we know now at least one time this season in a big spot, she's beaten them. So I do think it's dealer's choice. And I think Gretchen probably, I don't know. I think it's easy to say, oh, we're going to do both or whatever. But coaches sometimes in an instance like this, they have an intuition. They have a feeling. They go with one. And we'll see if it works or see if it doesn't. Because right now, Molly is as difficult of an individual matchup as there is in the state.
I think it was this round last year when we had Greensburg versus Evansville Central when Maddie Shirley went for like 40 points or whatever it was in a very narrow loss to Greensburg. So might we see that again? That's an interesting thing to consider. How do you handicap that game as we sit here now?
Well, so Molly's the wild card, not the wild card. Molly's the central piece to the game, right? How is she defended? How is she shooting the basketball? Can she create shots for Byford and Etta Young? But that's also not new, right? I mean, that's Jennings County in every basketball game that they've ever played. I think that's one advantage right there for Jennings County is they have experience in however Molly is guarded. On the Washington side, this is like, we haven't seen, like, this is a really talented group. Yes. They have London Gilly, but she is I was going to say 100%. I suppose I don't know from the knee injury if she is 100%, but she is back playing without minute restriction. Katie Reed's a senior. It's been there. Shea Hawk is a senior. Shuckman. We talk about the age of Washington. Washington this is a group that has had the talent to get here each of the last 4 years and is here, I believe, for the first time. So I am very interested to see that senior group or that old group or that Washington group to see how they kind of galvanize together. They are, if you just looked at it just like on paper, I think you would say, well, there's Molly, right? I mean, Molly is the one that's like, does Washington have a Molly, right? Somebody that can go for 35. But here's where I would tell you to kind of pause on that. They play a lot through Katie Reed. And while Katie Reed probably does have the capability to go out and get 35 the way that Molly does, she doesn't. And the reason why is because she is a second facilitator for everybody on Washington. Shea Hawk facilitates, Katie Reed facilitates. I believe their best passer is Katie Reed. Like if you watch multiple Washington games, you need not probably get past the first game to be like, hey, that post player, Katie Reed, like she's a pretty good passer. And then she makes passes again in the second game and again in the third game and again in the fourth game. That kid's a playmaker. So while Katie Reed herself might not have 35, she can certainly enter a basketball game and be responsible for 35 in dealing assists, taking double teams, and scoring herself. So how do I handicap it? I don't. It's 10 a.m. at Southport it's going to be a hard game to stay away from, to be honest with you. That might be the one that I go to.
That's going to be an excellent way to kick off Semistate Saturday, and then the game after that is going to be really good too. When you have Northview at 20-6 taking on Roncalli at 25-3 in the noon game. We'll have coaches from both sides here in just a bit to talk about it, Danny. But while it's just you and me, Northview coming off that win over Babuff, they have their big three in terms of scoring with Schrader and White at the top there. I'll get the third name here in just a second, but they're an interesting team to watch, and they're here for the first time in a long time as well. First time ever, actually.
I couldn't figure Northview out. Like when I was watching them, and I don't want to say studying them is probably overstatement, but like the statistics, I mean, they're okay. I mean, they won 19 games. I'm trying to figure out how they won 19 games. Okay. Like, I don't think that the stats bear it out. They don't have a statistical Gilliard, or they don't have a statistical, Molly Ernstis. Okay. So that's not it. Well, maybe they just shoot the three really well. Well, no, statistically they're below 30%. Like they don't shoot the three well. I thought maybe it was, I was watching the game and I was like, this team passes it really well. I bet they assist a bunch of their
only 11 a game
baskets. It's only 11 a game. Like in relativity, like I looked up a couple of teams that are still alive, like in 4A, 15, 16, 17 assists a game, like 10. I couldn't really figure it out. Here's what I land on. They guard and they make winning plays when they have to. And that is something that I think that's immeasurable. You can't get that on max preps. Like kid makes winning plays or the defensive prowess or the dedication to a game plan. So the one thing that I think Northview has going for them is their roster is comprised of kids who just, I would suspect, know how to win games. Okay. But the biggest point to this game is the Carlee Schrader statistic. Did your research did you get this? That she shot 223 free throws?
Oh my God.
Okay. So I heard it on the stream. I had the audio on. And I'm glad that I did, because she has been to the line and attempted 223 free throws. Okay, what does that mean? Let's put that in relativity, okay? The kids that we talk about that are difficult to guard. Grayson Gilliard, 190 free throw attempts. KK Holman, 186 free throw attempts. Jocelyn Bricker, 180 free throw attempts. Lillian Barnes, 157. Ada Hupfer, 153. Carlee Schrader has lapped them all. 223 free throw attempts. And by the way, she's shooting 74%. I could not keep my eye off of Carlee Schrader and how she initiates contact, controls her body, and works to the free throw line. That is a huge, huge part of this game in how she's defended, how she's officiated, and the kind of foul trouble that she could potentially put on either of her two opponents in the 3A South.
Defensively, or real quickly too, the offense for Northview, I wanted to get the three names right. It's Carlee Schrader, Reagin White, and Cambry Schultz, who's only a sophomore. Those are their big three who carry the load offensively. Defensively, though, they haven't given up more than 50 points this season. I think only once this season. That was back in the opener. And we texted a little bit about the defense because I know against Brebeuf, their concern was they're going to pack the lane, maybe goach into shooting some three-pointers to make sure you're patient and find those lanes to attack. And I texted you about it just to ask if that's what you were picking up on film study. But it sounds like they throw a variety of looks at teams and kind of mix things up a little bit.
They did against Brebeuf. That's all I can say. I saw 1-2-2 zone. They changed the pickup point on that 1-2-2. They played some half-court man. Like, Brebeuf has some size too. Like they did, I don't want to say tried to trick them, but they did not settle on one particular defense. And I think maybe that's one of the things that makes them so difficult to score against. I'm anxious to see them, honestly. And they're a reason now for me to travel to Southport, because I think I just need to see it with my own eyes. Another statistic. Here's another one for you, Hank. They shoot 23 3-pointers a game. And I said they don't really shoot the three statistically like all that great. In the Class A 2A show, we were discussing Elkhart Christian and how they shoot a lot of threes. They average out to shoot 24 3-pointers a game. Northview's 23. Like, they shoot a ton also, which is so odd because a team that you would think that's going to shoot that, like so the world of basketball, like advanced statistics, moved from volume to efficiency in the last 3 or 4 years. Like, nobody cares how many shot attempts anymore. They only care about points per possession, percentages, things like that. Like, Carlee Schrader, 74% is like 1.4 points per possession when she gets to the free throw line. They're way below 1.0 points per possession from the 3-point line, yet they still shoot 23 of those things. And yet, like, still win 19 games, even though while shooting 23 of them, they shoot below, like, it's like below 28%. It's Northview is bizarre. They
don't commit many turnovers. They're averaging fewer than 10 per game. It's been down 2 in these recent games. I thought, oh, maybe there's something there. No, they don't turn it over much. They don't foul a lot either defensively. I'm excited to get into that team and talk about them with Carlee and Reagin here later tonight, because they're a fascinating team.
Like, they got a teammate, and this will be the last point. Like, they got a teammate named Tori DeHart, who hit 2 monster threes that facilitated the coach fist pump, and really the second three was the one that put Brebeuf away and moved to Northview on. Tori DeHart, when she hit that three, in all due respect, I mean, I'm talking about her now, so hopefully this makes up for it. But I didn't know who she was. Like, I had to go back and look at their roster to be like, wait, who hit that three? They have a bunch of kids that just make winning plays. That's why they're here. It's kind of a cool story, to be honest with you. I'm kind of digging Northview.
They're kind of the underdog in this
No doubt.
quartet of schools. But with that, Dan, let's go ahead and bring on Washington coach Gretchen Miles. Washington preparing to take on Jennings County in that 10 a.m. game, as we discussed at Southport. Let's see, Gretchen, how are you?
Hey, I'm doing pretty well. How about you guys? Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks so much for hopping on with us. How's the week been treating you guys?
It's been good. I mean, just trying to stick to our routine and the best that we can. And the kids have been, locked in and just really excited for the week and getting Saturday here. And it's getting closer.
This is obviously a first for you and the first since the 90s for the program. So what's this experience been like for you? Has it been kind of what you expected, about as stressful as you expected, or has it been a little more tame, I guess, than what you
I'd be lying to you if I said it wasn't stressful, right? Like the logistics of it is kind of crazy, but no, it's been great. Like, our community supports our student athletes tremendously. We've had a tremendous fan base. And when you want, people want to take these kids out to eat like three meals a day. But what's been good about our kids is that, just being able to ask them, what do you need this week? Right. So the coaches aren't constantly, or our booster club's not constantly just planning things, is what do you need this week to be successful? And sometimes they want a meal, like, a couple days a week. And then a lot of times after practice, like, they just want to go home and just kind of decompress a little bit. And so we respect that. And our community's been very good about that. And I think what these kids want is just the community to come out and support them on Saturday.
That's fantastic. Talk us through the end of that Evansville Central game. Danny and I had it up on stream out at Greencastle. Looked like quite the adventure.
Oh my gosh, yes. I mean, we did not, of course, didn't play as we wanted to. Central was a very, very good team, and probably not to the last, probably I would say 3 minutes of the game did we feel like we kind of just got going a little bit. But our defense is something that's just kept us locked into games all season long. It's probably the best defensive team that we've had. And we were just very fortunate to keep the game tight the entire game. But as you guys saw, too, at the very end, it was kind of like, who wants to win the game? Do you want it? Do you want to do it? It was just turn after turnover and just kind of seeing things that we normally just didn't see out of our team at this time in the last couple of weeks. So, I'm sure the kids are very frustrated. We were too, of just what is happening out there. But when it came down to it, it was really good to see, like, our kids stay together. Like, you saw them huddle up on their own, a lot of kind of player-led things. And when it came down to it, to be able to get a stop, or, Katie Reed hit 2 big threes for us. Kyra Shookman came in and hit some big shots off some flex cuts to give us the lead. Katie Reed had a big steal and kind of a deflection off Maddie Shirley at midcourt. And then, after the run-through layup by Shay Hawk, London Gilly stepped up and hit some big time free throws to seal the win for us. So much happened in just those last few minutes that, it was kind of like you had to go back and watch the film to just relive it and then just like quickly move on.
Yeah. Well, Gretchen, congratulations. It's great to see you in the third weekend. It really is. I say that sincerely. I've obviously known the program for a while, known you, and I think it's great that you're there. So good luck this weekend.
Thank you.
Katie Reed she was a couple of bullet points in that list that you gave. And I'm not sure if you heard while you were backstage kind of leading on, Hank asked me a very blanket question, like, how do you handicap it? And we talked about how Molly Ernst can go out and get 35. And we talked about how Katie Reed can be responsible for 35. She's not the kind of kid that's going to go out and get you 35, but she draws doubles. She passes extremely well. You talked about the defensive play that she made against Maddie Shirley late in the regulation period. Just talk about her. I've talked about her passing like the whole time throughout this pod, like the entire season. What else is there with Katie? Like, she's a great passer, but just talk about her.
Right. And I think she's one of those players too, in her 4 years, like she's developed her game, right? Like, some players may be a very good perimeter shooter and they may improve that perimeter shot for 4 years and just kind of stay that kind of player. But Katie, started off as a post player for us. She worked on her game to work out to be a perimeter player, to be able to actually brings the ball up for us. at times and get out and transition for that. But what I feel like separates herself from a lot of other players is her ability to facilitate. She sees things before a lot of our other players see it. She talks them through it. She teaches them the game. And as you know, too, Coach, that she is a person of very few words. Like when she speaks, they listen. And she's been able to kind of teach that with our kids and kind of another coach on the floor with that. And not only with that, too, with on the floor, but she's kind of like another coach for us in the office, in the coach's office. And we just have such a really good relationship with that like we listen to our kids, and especially the ones that like know what they're talking about, right? Like we've all had the teams that they think they know what they're talking about. And we're like, all right, you need to stop. Like we're going to make the decisions around here, But like with Katie and with this group too, like when they see things, it's being able to kind of bridge that gap with coaches and players to be like, what do you see on the court? Because we see a different perspective from the bench, what they see on the floor, and we want to bridge that gap together. And Katie has such a high IQ of that, and be able to listen to her to see like, how can we do that better? What can we do to be better as coaches and to be able to get across to our players? But so it's just that IQ piece, is the coaching piece, is her ability to, when she sees the double team, triple team coming, to be able to get her teammates involved and she just makes everybody around her so much better. And let's be honest, like when it gets down to it, like Katie Reed just wants to win. So It doesn't matter like her stat line, she could care less. But she wants to make sure that we're doing the best that we all can to make sure that there's a win at the end of the day.
Yeah. And she's a senior. And you talked about the conversations that you have with your team. You use, phrases like player led. She's a part of a really special senior class. And I'm sure a special senior class to not only you, but your entire community and your school. Tell us about them. I mean, just brag on them. Right.
Absolutely. So there's 5 of them with, Katie Reed, Kyra Shookman, Shay Hawk, Ella Williams, and Maddie Johnson. And, those 5 have been together since, that they were in 2nd and 3rd grade playing. But I think like what separates them is their leadership, their ability to, when it's time to compete, is to compete. They could care less about the motivational rah-rah, stuff whatsoever, the fluff, so to speak. They just want to get down to it. Holding each other accountable, especially sometimes on girls' teams, gets a little tricky at times because people tend to get super sensitive about it or offended. Let's just be honest. But with this group, they know that it's helping each other to become better. Like we always say, like you got to leave your feelings out the door if you want to get better. If not, don't come in. And they do a really good job of being able to hold each other accountable, motivate one another, because they all know that they're in it for the same goal. And that's what makes this group really special. They're very tight knit. All 7 of them. They're just super close on and off the court, understand their roles very well. And like we said, just like at the end of the day, like they're just very like mission driven. If they just want to just kind of like win each day, just get better each day. And it's really, especially after that Princeton loss, it really just kind of clicked with them that like at any time, like this could be over. And like you said, when you have 5 seniors, it means different to them than it does the juniors. No less of who wants to win more, but just know when seniors, like when you get B at this point, like you're done, like it's over. So they think a little bit differently.
Well, okay. So I wasn't going to ask this, but you brought it up. Sokeland is on when he covers you. He talks about how he thinks the turning point of your season was Princeton also. And now in this conversation, you bring it up. Yeah. What is it? Like, what is the deal with this Princeton game? I know you got beat, but then what are the days that followed? What were those like, and how did you turn it around after that Princeton game?
Yeah, and I think in that game too, like and hats off to Princeton too. They just handed to us that day, and it didn't really matter like who we put on the floor that day. Like nothing was jiving, and we really just had never seen that out of this group. Like I guess you just didn't think like something like that would happen with any player on the floor. Nothing was flowing, but it was very eye opening to players and us as coaches. Like us as coaches, we're having also a reality check of like this isn't on the players. This is us as coaches too. Like we got the accountability of that piece also. And I think then on Monday when we watched film of it, the kids big time just had that, just kind of turned that switch of like, this isn't going to happen again. And it didn't need to take like a couple of days. It didn't need to take, a meeting with the coaches, like nothing like that. Like they took care of it themselves. And we could see it just in that practice how like, okay, something's different here. Like you could just tell just the way they approach things. You could just tell the way they walked in the gym. You could tell the way the practice was ran. And you could tell like, that they got a hold of each other. Like that's just what it was. And then, of course, as a group, we would talk about it. But just being able to, like we talked about before, like more player led, but also as a coaching staff, like things that we need to be better at to be able to meet them to see what they were seeing too. Like we got to put our pride at the door. Like some of this is our fault too. Like what do we need to do to improve?
Yeah, I would be remiss if I also didn't have you just comment quickly on London Gilly. So on minute restriction earlier in the year, you've kind of worked her back in, but she's changed you. Like, tell us about London Gilly.
She's really, especially these past few weeks, like she's been our difference maker, like our X factor. When she started the season, of course, she did not play the first couple games, like against North Knox, South Knox. She did not play. Her first games back were Corden, so you're playing 3 straight games. And the kid's just, she's loves the game, absolutely loves the game, high competitive mentality, loves her teammates. I mean, she just wants to go, and whatever it takes to play and whatever it takes to win. And so she was on restricted minutes coming back. So just being able to help her get through that mentally too, because she wants to be out there to play and be out there to help her team. When also you're trying to figure out, like, I still don't feel the same as I did before the injury. So it's just that mental piece for her. But she was so, like, the mental toughness for her has increased so much, not only just to be able to understand that because of the knee injury, but it also has helped her as a basketball kid too. Right. Because she's very hard on herself. And in the past, mistakes and things like that, like she is her worst critic. And you want to be able to use that if it motivates you in the right way. But we always say, like with London, like we love her game because, like, when she gets at that ball in the post, it's like bully ball. Like she just goes in there, and when you want somebody to put their shoulder right up somebody's, in their chest or up their chin, so to speak, like she does it. She's not afraid. She plays like a guy, like, and we absolutely love that stuff. But she can, handle the ball for us. She's got the vocal leadership piece. Like she's one, and she's been like this since a young age. It doesn't matter how old that kid is. She's just been that vocal leader since she started playing basketball. It's just who she is. Yeah. And the kids respond to that because they know how competitive she is, and they know that this is super important to her. And she's also improved her 3-point shooting. She's also being able just to get to the rim, but she sees the floor so well too. She's able to get that ball out in transition and get the ball down the floor. Her and Katie work so well together, and just being able to find the open players. But she has been a tremendous difference maker, especially these past 3 weeks of helping us really turn that corner.
Gretchen, looking ahead now to the matchup Saturday in Jennings County. I'll just start broadly. Just what stands out to you? What jumps out to you as you look at that matchup?
Well, definitely Molly, right? Like she's a load. That kid is a high volume shooter. It doesn't matter like how much film and how much you watch them. You're just like, how much space does she get off that step back? And it's coming, and she still gets that space. And she's got such a quick release off that, and the ball screen's coming, the flare screen's coming, but they do a great job. And I tell you what, her supporting staff does a great job too, is they play off of her so well, and they've continued to get better. Especially, in these past month, Young and Byford, like they have done a tremendous job of knowing when she's getting trapped or they're running people at her, that where to cut, how to feed off that. And Molly also facilitates very well. She can see that coming. She's got great size to be able to find them, and they're finishing better too. So the role players are stepping up. They're doing their job. And that's a huge part too of why they are where they are at this point also. Because they're playing extremely well. And especially, if you can knock off Greensburg and Silver Creek, those are 2 top teams. And so, like, they're quick, they're athletic, and they crash the boards really, really hard. They get after it big time. And that's going to be a huge thing for us too, is limit them to one shot and to be able to get us out in transition.
One more question for you, Gretchen. When you're studying Jennings County, do you look back at the film from the beginning of the season, throughout the season, or do you kind of just focus on these past few weeks when you've kind of seen more of the completed picture with those role players getting settled into their roles and really kind of getting comfortable stepping up in these big moments?
Yeah, so we kind of took a look at of like maybe a team that they've played a couple times just to kind of see how much that those role players have improved, like just their game, but mostly like what they've been doing recently. Right. So like what they've been really turning the corner on with their strengths that way. But a couple of those kids have improved so much. Like, oh, here's where they were, but here's how much they've grown, just to be able to kind of see that also. But especially with their tournament play and a few games right before the tournament and playing because they play a really good schedule too. right? So they play a lot of good teams, and just be able to see how their players stack up to that. But mostly because they're playing so well right now is loading up on that film and talking with those coaches just to pick their brains about like what is going on. Like they're playing so well, and like, what do you do, right? So help us here. What do we do here? So a great team, very well coached, and they're playing well at the right time.
Well, best of luck here on Saturday, Gretchen. Safe travels out here to the Indianapolis area, and yeah, best of luck. Thank you so much for hopping on with us.
Hey, thanks for having me. Appreciate everything you guys do.
Thanks a ton. Good luck.
See you, Coach. Thank you.
Gretchen Miles from Washington. Danny, we're going to get ourselves back on schedule as best we can. Joined now by Jason Sims of Roncalli. Roncalli playing that second sectional semifinal game against Northview at noon at Southport. Jason, what's up, man?
Hey, just happy to be here. Thanks for all you guys do for the game. It doesn't go unnoticed. We appreciate you very much.
I appreciate that. I love the poster. I meant to point that out when we were off air, but I love the Emma Halter poster over your shoulder.
Yeah, I mean, Emma, everybody knows Emma. I know volleyball standout, but, played basketball for us for 4 years, was just a dedicated kid. Just an inspiration. Everybody here at Roncalli, just a special, special person. So she gets to be on the Wall of Fame up here in this office for sure.
I love that. I think the best place to start with you guys is with Elliot Leffler and just the progression and the strides that kid has made this season, just the confidence that she's playing with. What was it, 14 points in the fourth quarter against Cathedral last Saturday. We've talked about her throughout the season. Just talk to us about what you've seen in terms of her maturation.
Well, she, all year she's been a multi-level scorer, and early in her career, it was a lot of 3-point shots. But as she got in her sophomore year and into this year, she's really learned to finish the basket, and play at all three levels. That 15-foot mid-range shot, and of course, we know the 3-point shots there for her. She is constantly getting face guarded, and she's just done a really good job of understanding what to do when people are doing that to her. And her teammates have done a nice job of it as well, and really letting the game come to her, let her teammates make a couple plays, tends to loosen that up a little bit. And then, we tend to have a different gear when we get to that, when we have to turn it up a notch, turn up the heat, as we like to say. She's right there in that mix, and then that gives her some opportunities in transition and some 3-point shots. And so she's done a really good job of just letting it come to her. Finding teammates is something that she's improving on each and every game, and really, letting people help her be a better player.
There's one other player that I wanted to ask about before I toss it over to Danny, and that was Caroline Schottel coming off the bench for you guys. I mean, when you're able to pull a post in like that, 4.6 rebounds, and spell Lydia for stretch of that game, I mean, that's been pretty massive for you guys under the radar. Yeah,
I mean, Caroline, we consider her a starter. I mean, Lydia is just a special athlete, obviously Division I athlete. Caroline does a lot of great things for us, and rebounding is one of them. They both just guard the lane well. And I think the most underrated thing about both of them is how well they communicate on defense, and how well they pass out of the high post, and what we like, our give and go and backdoor cuts. I don't think the two of them get enough credit for that, and Caroline is outstanding with that. And she's really stepped up the last 2 years in the tournament and really just got to another level.
Go ahead, Dan.
Jason, how's it going? Congratulations, man.
Thank you.
All right. Did this team exceed your expectations so far this season?
I don't know that we exceeded expectations. We felt like honestly we were a little underrated last year. We had some injuries in the middle of the year and some sickness, and we lost 5 in a row. I think people kind of wrote us off. We got things rolling in January. We definitely had a chip on our shoulder going to the tournament last year. I thought we made an outstanding run. I look up and we're within a possession in the fourth quarter of an outstanding Greensburg team. So that gave us confidence going into this year. Certainly, when you walk into the season and you see teams like Center Grove and Franklin Central and Lawrence Central and Pike and Greensburg and Franklin Community, a lot of these, Columbus North, a lot of really good teams. We probably didn't know that we'd win 25 games, but we did feel like we were going to be a really good basketball team this year.
So the computers love you, and the computers actually love the 3A South. The top 3 teams right now in I guess backwards sequentially. Number 3 is Washington. Number 2 is Jennings County. You are the number 1 Sagarin team. So the computers love you. Has to be a product of the big wins that you've had and the schedule that you've had, which can prepare you for what you're about to deal with on Saturday. So just talk about your schedule, the battle testing, to talk about that.
Yeah, I mean, every year we go in and play Center Grove early. That's always a tough game for us. For the last 2 years, our volleyball kids are coming off a state championship. We really have had them for about 5 days. So we go into Center Grove and really get smacked around, and people don't think much of us as a team. I had the highest respect for Coach Stuckmeyer. We talked about, I think we're going to be okay, and Kevin's like, I think you are too. And then we just kind of got things rolling there in December. And then we came out and played Lawrence Central there, and well, really, I mean, Decatur Central, Franklin Central, Lawrence Central in that Marion County tournament. And we're just playing really good basketball. I can't lie, I was a little worried we might peak a little too early, but we seem to have been able to continue that on through January. And I think we really knew that we could have something special when we went to Greensburg and played, and we were able to beat that outstanding basketball team. And we were doing it in a different way than what people really viewed us as. I think people really view us as a 3-point shooting team, and we've really learned to. We've kind of gotten back to my roots as a basketball coach. Got into some box sets, get into some high ball screen action. We like our staggered screens. We really like to get the ball out quick in transition, and we did a lot of really good things there. Tough to keep that up all year. I was really hard on there in January. We have some good leaders on our basketball team. They said, "Coach, we love you, but back off a little bit. We're going to be fine." And then we got it really rolling there in the last week of the season in the section. We're playing outstanding defense and really outstanding transition offense before we got to that regional game against Cathedral.
Well, so you mentioned it, and I understand that you're not going to want to talk too much about this necessarily, but I have noticed in watching your team through the last 2 seasons that the second half of this season, you guys schematically are very different. You're talking about how you got back to your roots. You're doing a little bit more box set, a little bit more high ball screen. What led to that? Like, why the change? Are you just trying to keep it fresh for the kids, or just tell us?
Well, we do a lot of self-scout of ourselves, and we're just like, we need to be better getting to the rim and getting our post involved. And we've not, up until late last year and early this year, we've really not been able to play through our post. We've been able to do that a lot more this year. Like I said, I think that Lydia and Caroline are really underrated in their ability to pass out of the post and see things and attack. Lydia had an outstanding first quarter against Cathedral, probably carried us there early. But if you think back to where I came from, I played for Dan Sparks at Vincennes University and John Grimes, 2 Hall of Fame coaches. And it was all about get it out as fast as you can and reverse it quickly and look for your shot. And that's kind of how I grew up. But when I first got into coaching, I really liked the box sets. And so we've really gotten a lot into that and just trying to utilize really what we have. I mean, we have some kids that screen well, we have some kids that shoot well, we have some kids that cut well. So let's add all those components together. And really got to give Coach Holland some credit at Pike. He came up to me after the game because I really think if you put that high ball screen action in, you guys are going to be unstoppable. And he showed me a few things with that, and we got into our own variations of that, and it's really been very successful for us.
It's very cool. So spinning it forward, I'm sure you've gotten into the film study. What are the early impressions on Northview?
Well, they're really well coached. They run a lot of really great concepts offensively. They slip a lot of their screens into flares. They backdoor you, they weave, they like to work from the elbows, they screen the zone very well. So if you're going to go to that, you're going to have to be alert all the time. You guys have already mentioned, the Schrader really gets to the free throw line. She's a dynamic player. They've got multiple kids that can score. They do some really good things. It's fun to watch them on film. It's not so fun when you're getting ready to play them, but they're going to be a handful for us. And, we certainly aren't taking that for granted. We know we're going to have our hands full Saturday afternoon, and we're going to be ready.
They seem, Jason, just looking at the stats, that they're just kind of steady. Like they're just kind of solid in a lot of important areas, like the turnovers, like the fouls that they commit and things like that.
They are, after looking at Reagan White, their point guard. I mean, she can go right, she can go left, she distributes, she kicks, she can shoot the basketball. Those are the kids that put you in a bind because you really can't, you can't get on their strong hand and force them to their weak. She does a lot of really good things there. And like I said, I got to give Coach Keys a lot of credit because they just have a lot of really good schemes. And that's to me is a tribute to a really good coach and a good program is that you have we've spent a lot of time trying to figure out how to guard their various sets and their various formations. Using a football term, they like to be in a 1-4 low look. They get kids on the elbows, they get into the weave. it's a lot to prepare for. And when you have to do all that preparation for them, you don't get to work as much on yourself. So I will say Coach Keys wanted to wish all the IGCSA coaches good luck this week, except for me. So I got a good kick out of that, but I'm really impressed with him and what they're doing over there at Northview for sure.
Well, Jason, best of luck to you on Saturday. I'm sure, by the way, that last Sunday you were probably the happiest person in the world to see that you guys are just heading over to little old Southport instead of Jasper.
Yeah, I mean, we went to Southmont last year for the region, went to New Albany a long ways away, so it's going to be nice. I think you're going to see a pretty large contingent of Roncalli folks there for that 12 o'clock game. So we're really looking forward to that, and we're just going to enjoy the week. I mean, so many teams would love to be where we're at the last 2 years, and we're here and we're enjoying every second of it.
Love to hear it. Love to hear it. Well, best of luck this weekend, Jason.
Thank you.
Talk soon, buddy. See ya. Jason Sims, head coach of Roncalli, with us here on the scores table. Quick update on Northview. They're getting off the bus as we speak, so as soon as they are set up in their classroom and not on the bus, we'll be joined by Carlee, Schrader, and Reagin White.
Okay, that's cool.
So they were on their they had their practice today up at Southport, so they're making the trip back down to Terre Haute. While we have the time, Danny, because I don't think we'll have time in between interviews, let's talk a little bit about the 3A North.
Okay.
Connersville versus Fairfield, an interesting matchup there for Fairfield. A couple 1,000-point scores in that program with Eva Herbert, who will be with us later tonight, and Madison Jones. They were not only here in 2023, they won a state championship in 2023. So those seniors were freshmen that year. That was under a different head coach, Brody Garber, since taken over by Kyle Hartman. And the big thing with them, and I know Sabe would love this, is the investment in the youth program. They opened up a $13.8 million field house here. I think it was over the fall. Wow. So they are really investing in building a foundation for their girls basketball program and sustaining the success.
So Fairfield seems like one of the basketball teams that has a particular identity in the semi-state. They played on the pack line in a 2-3 zone and just bored the offensive team to tears. It seems like that's the way they win games. Now, again, that's what they did in the regional championship. Regional championship might be redundant. Regional game is what they did. But it does kind of beg the question, like they are very comfortable at playing at that pace, that slow pace. They can rebound out of that. They understand how to close out and fan out to shooters. They very rarely change their pickup point. The pickup point typically is inside the 3-point line. And in a matchup against Connersville, it begs the question immediately is what can Connersville do to either A, attack a very stagnant, flat 2-3 packed in congested zone, or what can they do to push the pace? It is very easy for people, fans, coaches, scouts, whatever it is, to say, oh, well, just Connersville they need to run. They need to push the pace. Not so fast, right? I mean, like, you have to prevent them from scoring. That's the first thing. You have to have live ball change of possession. You have to turn them over. And you probably do. You do have to run the floor, right? And running the floor is something that affects rebounding. It affects transition defense. It affects all of those things are kind of interconnected. I think if Fairfield can do what they did in the regional to Connersville, it's not a knock on Connersville, but it can be very bothersome. Connersville does have the athletes to be able to run. Anaya Bennett is going to a Division I school in New York City at St. John's to run track. So she certainly has the ability to get up and down the floor. They're also going to have to make shots because not everything is going to be a live ball change of possession. There's going to be dead ball turnovers. There's going to be dead ball changes of possession. There's going to be made baskets. There's going to be things that naturally slow the pace down. And that puts a lot on Addie Jones, who has been their 3-point shooter through the postseason. We talked about how she hit, I think it was 4 threes in the sectional semifinal, 3 threes in the sectional championship, for 7 threes heading into the regional. Their leading scorer and best 3-point shooter is a kid by the name of Serenity Pennington. Serenity Pennington is a 3-point shooter. They're going to have those kids, along with Bennett, are going to have to run the floor and make shots if they want to deal with this Fairfield kind of 2-3 packed zone.
That's going to be a fascinating game to watch. Danny, in an effort to get us back on schedule, I apologize for ping-ponging around everywhere. We're going to shift back down to the 3A South, bring on Northview. We're joined now by Carlee, Schrader, and Reagin White from Northview, fresh off of their practice at Southport Fieldhouse. How did the trip down to Southport go, girls?
It was great. There was a storm, so that's why we were late getting back. But it was fun. We went out to eat after and had a good time.
I didn't even put two and two together. You guys were caught in like that severe bad stuff. Like, did it get a little dicey there on the way back?
Yeah, we ended up catching a break in the storm, so we got to get back.
That's perfect. Do you guys just hunker down in the restaurant until the worst of it passed over?
Pretty much, yeah.
What a memorable way to spend the first region or semi-state semifinal in school history. For both of you guys, just describe for us what the identity of this team is. Like, what are the things that you guys really hang your hats on?
I think the biggest thing for us is just playing hard. Each and every game, even at practice, we always come in with we have to work mindset. So I think that just carrying on to the game or to our games helps a lot. And just playing together as a team. We all get along really, really well. It's like a family culture here. So I think that is a big identity for us. So
Carlee, sorry, go ahead.
So like what Reagin said, like just all playing together, playing hard every single game, every practice, doing our roles on offense and defense is a big part, and just the chemistry that the team has.
Carlee, I want to ask you a specific question. The stream brought it to light in talking about the free throw shooting. We actually, I don't want to say led the show with it, but like 223 free throw attempts is ridiculous. You're also shooting 74% from the, like, is that, it's obviously a talent. Getting to the line and drawing fouls is a talent, okay? But talk about the evolution of that. Like, did you go into the season thinking like, hey, that's my most efficient place to score and that's what I'm going to try to work to the line? Or did it just start to happen and 223 times later you shot free throws?
I mean, I'm definitely a drive first rather than shoot, usually trying to go up strong, and then sometimes it just foul.
Reagin, so I was watching your game coming in, and I have to admit to you, and you guys were at practice, so you didn't hear my comments. I'm puzzled by Northview a little bit because, and next to your name, I have good guard. Like, I didn't know what else to write. Like, you're just a good guard. What is it about you kind of holding this team together? What do you feel like your role is on this basketball team?
I think my number one role is just being a leader, but also just being whatever my team needs me to be, whether that's, hitting a shot or making a pass to get an assist or just little things like that. Just being someone my team can always count on to just step up and do something that needs to be done for the game.
You mentioned team 2 or 3 times in that answer. So tell us about some of your teammates on your team.
Oh my gosh, they're amazing. Carlee right here, she's an absolute bucket. She's amazing. I love getting the ball to her because I know it's probably going to be 2 points on the scoreboard after I get it to her. But everyone else, Cambry Schultz, we call her Scraps. She is amazing. She can do just about anything, whether it's drive, shoot. She's an amazing defender. Raquel, I hate whenever she guards me in practice because, oh my gosh, it's terrible. She's an amazing defender. It's very hard to do anything on her. And Tori, knockdown shooter. I mean, anytime she gets it on the perimeter, it's going in. So
she hit the 2 big threes in the regional too, en route to it. Carlee, has this season and being in the third weekend, do you feel like this has exceeded your expectations coming into it? Or did you guys feel like you were one of the best teams in 3A all along?
I definitely think that we exceeded them kind of, but I also know that like as a team, we knew that we could get it done and win regionals and go farther.
At what point this season did you guys kind of start to believe that? Like, when did you kind of feel, hey, we have the chance to do something special, this group?
Honestly, I think last year, we ended up winning sectionals and we went to regionals. We played a good Cathedral team there and we lost. But I think just from there, our mindset kind of been like, you know what, we need to work. but we did it. So we can go back and do it again. And I think it just shows,
Yeah. For both of you guys, what's this experience been like? What's it been like around town, within the school community? What have these past few days been?
You want me to go? Okay. Honestly, it's been amazing. As a senior, I'm just trying to take everything in and enjoy it. The community is amazing. The amount of fans we had at our regional game was just awesome to see, just the community supporting us. And then this whole week, every night someone has gotten us something, wishing us good luck at Semistate. So we're just really appreciative of it.
What was the banner, by the way, below your student section? Baseline what?
That was from North. That is not ours.
Okay, I got you.
Carlee, what's it been like in school? Like, are kids coming up and talk to you? Is it to talk among all the teachers when you pass them in the hallway?
I mean, there's lots of congratulations and just people, honestly, I think being surprised that we got past regionals, but I think as a team, we knew that we could do it.
Looking ahead now to Semistate and specifically Roncalli, what stands out to you guys? What have you seen? What have you been talking about during practice as you start scouting and preparing for them?
Honestly, they're a really good team. They can score every single person can score. So I think just, kind of just play how we've always been playing and just, play as hard as we can and hopefully have a good outcome.
Carlee, anything in particular standing out to you?
I mean, Roncalli, they're a good team, but just going in knowing that it's possible and that we can win if we all play together, play how we always play as a team, and just knowing that we can win.
The confidence that you guys have coming into Semistate this year, did you have this last year even when you're going into regionals against Cathedral?
Yeah, honestly, I think you have to take every game with confidence. That's a big, important part of it. So, yeah.
Yeah. And then Reagin, for you as a senior, what would it mean for you to even have the opportunity to close it out a Semistate championship game and then even potentially Gamebridge Fieldhouse? What would that mean for you to bring that to the community?
Oh my gosh, it would mean the world to me. All the hours we put in as a team, just from summer to practices to open gyms, everything, it would mean a lot to, I know, me, my team, and the community.
I think, Carlee, one last one to bring you guys out. Just brag on your seniors and what they've meant to you, this program, and your career these past few years.
I mean, our seniors are definitely going to be missed. I mean, Reagin, she controls the pace of the game, sets every play up for us. Raquel on defense, phenomenal. And Addie Spetter, she really helps us in practice, getting us ready for these games.
Yeah. Well, girls, best of luck here this weekend. Safe travels over to Southport. Hopefully there's no storms, snow, or otherwise this weekend. And thanks so much for hopping on with us. I'm glad we made this happen.
Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you.
Take care, guys.
Hey, girls, good luck.
Bye.
Reagin White, Carlee Schrader with us here on the scores table.
Hank, I'm glad we did that. Even though I asked officially 0 good questions, it was nice to hear. It was not particularly Reagin. It was nice to hear them talk, because when you watch kids play basketball, they're just numbers, right? When you watch,
right.
It's just a scheme, right? But now there's context to the fact that she did look like a team leader. She did look like the point guard. She did. I said in the question leading into it, it just looks like you kind of hold everybody together. And the way that she talks is probably the way that she talks, not just in front of a microphone, but probably the way that she talks in practice, on the bus, in the huddle, at halftime, after the game. They said they went out to eat afterwards. It was probably telling stories the whole time. Those people like that are very easy people to follow when there's such good leaders like that. So that was cool. I mean, I'm trying to educate myself on Northview so I can watch this game on Saturday with just a little bit more education.
They're a fascinating team. We touched on it at the top. You've done the film study, and I've been looking at the numbers. Just a fascinating team. But you're right. They were very, very fun to talk to.
Yeah.
In there. We're going to go ahead and shift now to 3A North. Back to the 3A North. We're going to talk here in just a second with Kyle Hartman, the coach over there at Fairfield, and senior Eva Herbert, as they prepare for their game against Connersville, the noon game over at Logansport. Get the screen situated here. Kyle and Eva, how are you guys doing?
Good. How are you?
Doing well. Thank you so much for hopping on with us. Eva, I suppose you went through this as a freshman, right?
Yep.
So how is it the second time through?
The second time through, I mean, it means a little more just being a senior leader on the team, just working a little bit harder, it's fun.
Kyle, for you, I want to start with just the investment that this community has made in the youth program. I read about the $13.8 million field house that you guys have going. Just talk us through the youth program, the investment, the importance of that for you as you try to continue building this program.
Yeah, I mean, the field house has been a huge positive for us. It just opens up a lot more doors for us. Obviously, it provides more baskets for us to get kids in the gym and stuff. And our youth is really engaged with us, and Ava has a lot to do with that by being present with them. Yeah, it's pretty exciting over there.
Yeah, Ava, I was going to ask, that was going to be my next question. Just what has your involvement been with and kind of getting that next generation of Fairfield girls basketball players inspired and playing?
My younger sister, she's in 8th grade this year. And so I love watching her and her friends play ever since they were younger. And, the girls behind her too are amazing and they come out and support us. And so I think it's only fair that we go out and support them too when we can.
Go ahead, Dan.
So is it Eva or Ava?
Ava.
Ava. So Ava, your future college coach is Darby Maggard, right? You're going to Huntington?
Yeah.
So I coached Darby for 3 years, and when I watched you play, I was like, well, I think she's going to Huntington. I could see a lot of the qualities as to why Darby recruited you. You have a lot of that. Kyle, I'm actually going to direct the question to you. Mm-hmm. Look, Darby Maggard was as critical of a floor general as you could possibly have. That's everything that the point guard sitting next to you looks like. Just tell us about her.
Ava is somebody that you want on your team. She worked extremely hard. She's not traditionally at the point guard role, but that's what she's had to do for us the last 3 years, and she's done it and has improved on it every single season. Her assist to turnover ratio is improved since her sophomore year to now. She's really commanded that role and has, like you said, taken that leadership role at the point guard position for us.
Before we get to you, Ava, I want to ask you one more question, Kyle, about scheme. Coaches leading up to these games can only say so much, so I understand that. But you sat in the regional, back on pack line, sat back in the zone. You didn't change your pickup point very much. Where does that come from for you? That identity of packing it in, condensing into quarter court, rebounding the basketball and controlling tempo. Does that come from a place?
I think really with, Coach Garber, was big in the 2-3 zone before I took over, and I've been a zone person myself. I think it really helps us contain the basketball. It forces them out of a lot of their man actions that they run. Zone, like on Saturday, they had, the big girl in the middle that we were really concerned about. And leading up to it, we do a lot of looking into stats of like what girls shoot threes, where do they shoot them from, what are their percentages and things like that. And, we thought going into that game, they think they only averaged about 3 makes a game, maybe, or 4, somewhere around there. And they ended up hitting 9, which usually sometimes it happens to us when we sit in our zone. So we just got to make sure we do a really good job of rebounding the ball out of it. We've been improving on our zone throughout the whole year. I like to go man sometimes, but I know some girls on our team where it's not the most best thing they want to do. So it takes a little hard to convince them to do that. But we do well in our zone. We're long. Ava being 5'10" and Madison Jones being 5'10" and long and athletic, and I think we do a really good job in it.
Well, Haenchen mentioned, and you mentioned Madison Jones. So Ava, she's the second 1,000-point scorer in that lineup. Tell us what she means to you and how she makes you more effective.
Jones has improved so much, and she has just put in a lot of work. She's just like a force on offense, on defense too. When she gets going, I think she's unstoppable. Just extremely athletic, just really strong in the post too. She's able to go through people, over people. But as a teammate, I just love hanging out with her outside of basketball even. She's hilarious. She makes me laugh all the time, but I just really appreciate how hardworking she is.
Ava, I think I read in one of Kyle Smedley's stories, he mentioned that you kind of been trying to help her to get to that 1,000-point goal. And I assume that extends beyond just giving her the ball and saying, hey, go score it. So what have you done to kind of help her development and foster her development as a player?
I mean, she's obviously done a lot of work herself, but I think that we kind of learned how to work together on the court, whether that's her running, just peeking out, running ahead, and I'm passing her the ball up, or, I'm telling her, hey, you got to post up against your girl, whether that's just in the middle of the game, I see she has a mismatch and I call it out, get her the ball because I trust that she can go through people. But yeah, I think that we just have learned how to work together and use our strengths.
Kyle, how have you seen those two's relationship develop and cultivate here?
Yeah, it's grown a lot. Both of them have improved so much over the years, and they kind of pull each other along at times. Ava's a little bit of the big sister to Madison in some aspects, and Ava's had to sacrifice some of her scoring, but she does that willingly because she knows she has Madison Jones, like she said, running the break, and she's gotten plenty of assists over the years of throwing it up to her. But yeah, they just feed off of each other. They complement each other really well.
Looking ahead now to what you guys have coming up on Saturday in Connersville, the team that's surging, what jumps out to you? What stands out to you when you see them on film, and how are you approaching that matchup?
Yeah, so they got 4 girls that average around 11 to 12 points, 3 guards, and then they got the 6'1" sophomore too. The 3 guards can all shoot it really well. The number 10's super athletic and can get downhill really well. Then they got some other girls, 2 5'10" girls that can pose a little bit of a threat on the inside to us. So there's some things that we're going to try and do, some things that we're going to try and take away with them. But, the big thing for us is rebounding, especially in the tournament. We can't give them second, third, fourth chances out there on Saturday.
Ava, are they similar at all? Do they draw parallels to other teams you guys have faced this season?
Honestly, no. I think that's the hard part. The most similar that they are probably is Kankakee Valley, who we just played at regional. Their guards are pretty similar, and they have a big, kind of like Kankakee. So I think it was helpful playing them in the regional. But yeah, I think that's going to be the hard part, is coming out and playing a team that we don't really know how we'll match up against.
Then one more for you, Ava. I've gotten familiar from that year that you guys made it the state of the support, not only within your community of Fairfield, but just like the surrounding county. It seems like everybody kind of comes together. So what's it been like here this week as you guys prepare to play one of 3 teams that are playing for a semi-state championship?
I am just so blown away and so grateful. For obviously our Fairfield community, but at my internship at work, it's just, people that they have children at other schools are coming up to me and just being like, I'm a Fairfield fan, like, you guys have a great basketball team, like, I'm so proud of you. And it's like people that I didn't know before, and just like seeing how much how they just love our team now and support us. It's just been a lot.
Kyle, are you a Fairfield native? Did you grow up around in that area?
No, I actually grew up in Fort Wayne. So,
okay.
Yep. And I went to school to Bethel, and then I coached at South Bend St. Joe and South Bend Riley on the boys' side for 2 years. And then my college teammate, Derek Heinen, he was the boys' coach before. So he pulled me along, and then just kind of hung around, and the girls' position opened up.
That's awesome. So I'll ask you then, what has it been like experiencing this now kind of for the first time, being a head coach at that program?
Yeah. Well, first of all, our community's great. Whether, we make it to semi-state or, lose first round of sectional or something, like they have always supported us, have been with us through thick and thin. And just having their support has meant the world to me, to our team and everything. But yeah, it's been a really fun process. A lot of people have come out and shown support and sent us messages, and everybody's asking, what can we do for you to help you out through this week and everything like that. So it's been awesome.
That's fantastic. Well, best of luck to you guys this weekend. Take care and safe travels to you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Thank you. Kyle Hartman, Ava Herbert with us here on the scores table. Quick thought?
Yeah, so Ava Herbert's really good. What you're going to see when you guys watch this team play is you're going to see a point guard that seemingly makes the right decision. I mean, I say every time, like if she draws 2, and they do, like Coach Hartman does different things with her too. Like there's different actions in their offense where she catches the ball on the post. There's other actions where she takes ball screen. If she catches the ball in the post and there's an immediate double, like the rule is you can't throw it from where the double came from. No problem. She knows exactly where to throw it and then throws it and dots it. That's a really good player. I would, without having a large volume of film study on Fairfield, I would tell you that the reason why they are here is because of the play of Herbert. So I don't, again, we had her as the guest. I don't know if that was selected by Kyle or if that was selected by you. But I couldn't help but notice how steady that kid is. And I drew the parallels to like Darby Maggard. Like that was the way Maggard was, like her future college coach. There's some of those kids, they just make the right play. And that's her.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Well, Danny, we're going to stay in the 3A North. Going to be joined now by Bill Murchie, Laine Lyles of Culver Academies. Culver Academies getting ready to take on Bellmont in that noon game the 10 a.m. game, at Logansport. How are you guys doing?
Hey, good. Doing well. How are you guys?
Doing well. How is Laine? How has the semi-state preparation experience been for you?
Honestly, this week of practice has been pretty intense. Just getting ready for Bellmont and their pressure. Coach Murchie said we got to be comfortable with the pressure that they bring. So that's what we've been trying to imitate and practice with our boys and stuff like that. So
you guys have been bringing in the boys team to help you practice too.
Yeah, we have a couple boys practice players that come to our practices and just really bring us that college feel of how a lot of them do that. So it's really nice.
Okay. Bill, you mentioned the pressure that Bellmont brings, but let's just stay with Bellmont to start this interview. Just what jumps out to you as you watch them on film beyond that, the way that they play?
I mean, just toughness, man. We've watched 5, 6, 7 games on them just, this week, and they're going to guard you. They're going to guard you at 94. They're going to guard you in the half court. I mean, we've tried to watch a lot of games where they were playing some dribble drive stuff because that's what we try to do a little bit of, and hard to get it from slot to slot, hard to get it from slot to wing. It's hard to go by them. They're a lot more athletic than you think just by watching them. So kudos to them and what they do. And Andy's phenomenal coach, been doing it for 15 years, 200 something odd wins. I mean, he's big time. So we're real excited about the opportunity, and we're real excited to play against a team that's going to kind of play our style. We want to say, and it'll be fun.
So in that style, I mean, you talked about defense. I mean, clearly that's the identity of the team, right? So you had a defensive basketball team. If you look at what you did against Highland, you give up 27 points, only 13 points in the second half, en route to kind of a getaway victory in the regionals, which isn't supposed to happen, but that's got to be the identity of your team, right, Coach? Just guarding.
Yeah, I mean, we want to keep our teams under 36. We've got a whole chart out here of defensive goals. We want to keep them under 9.25. And that's kind of who we are. So in the 5 years I've been the head coach, we've I think we're at 35. I think we're 35th or 36th in the state. If you look at that, the John Harrell statistics. But for us, it's all about just making people's life challenging, right, on the defensive end. So Laine, you can speak to it. You've been with me now a year, so.
Yeah, honestly, we emphasize a lot on just obviously if we do have a star player, I guess you could, for example, Jordan Steele, we do want to apply a lot of pressure, but it's really an emphasis on everybody else around, our player who might be guarding the star player, because if we're not doing our job, then we're not helping the person who's guarding the main player. So honestly, it's really just a team effort, and I feel like our team is really connected on the defensive end, and we have a lot of grit, and we get really hyped up for big stops, and that really pushes our momentum a lot.
Hey, Bill, it shouldn't be people's first introduction to Laine Lyles. Some of our audience, this is their first introduction to Laine Lyles. Like I said, it shouldn't be. Brag on the kid in the square next to you here. I mean, it's just tell them what they're missing.
Yeah, I mean, you saw her this summer, Danny, and she's a special talent. And it's what I love about her is that she could honestly go out and score 25, 30 every night, if she wants to. but she's such a great teammate. She's such a great kid. Like, her thought is, how do I get everyone else involved? How do I make the right play? It's never forced. And then, I don't even need to talk about the tremendous athlete she is. I mean, she makes plays sometimes that I'm sitting there going like, I don't know anybody that can make that play. So she's elite, and I'm not just trying to talk about my kid or anything or my player or whatever like that, but she's a special talent, and we're really blessed to have her, and we're excited what these next 4 years are going to look like for her, because this is just the beginning. I mean, she's a freshman.
Yeah. Before we get to Belmont, Laine, let me ask you. I've asked a couple of people that have moved in and spending their first year in Indiana high school basketball. What are your impressions? We talk all the time about how we do it different here in Indiana. Indiana high school basketball is it. You play in cathedrals, and there's tradition and history and all of that. What are your early impressions of playing in what we call Hoosier Hysteria?
I feel like I compare it a lot to, Tennessee's, playing in like their basketball, because obviously that's where I live. But one thing I did notice off the bat was just like, I feel like the girls' high school here in Indiana, I feel like the girls who actually play care a lot about it. Just like whenever they are playing it. And also, I feel like the fan base just gets a lot hyper just for girls basketball in general. Whether that's like a regular season game or, it's where we're at Semistate or regionals. Like anytime we normally have a good fan base whenever we have home games, even at away games too. So definitely that, I just feel like, I don't know, honestly, it's a different feel just playing against players who truly want it more, I guess you could say.
Laine, what was, real quickly on the fan thing, I love that question, Danny. What was the first like big crowd? Like, what was your first oh wow moment when you saw the fan support, and what has been your favorite like crowd, like your favorite scene? Does that make sense?
Yeah. My first oh wow moment was honestly our first home game. Obviously, I was injured, sadly. But yeah, it was a nice crowd. I was like, man, this is crazy, because I've never experienced something like that in Tennessee. Just with like obviously I played high school last year, so just with that. My favorite definitely had to be our senior night crowd, and it was a good crowd. They were hyped for every point, and honestly, as the game went on, obviously we extended our lead, but they didn't care. They still had a lot of energy, so it was really nice.
I love that.
So Laine, you get to play in Logansport, okay? Just do me a favor and ask Bill some of the history of that gym that you get to play in. They call it the Berry Bowl, okay? Some of the most storied games come out of that gym. I remember watching Ashlyn Shade and Meredith Tipner and Reagan Wilson playing in a game there against Jessica Carruthers en route to their state championship at Noblesville. It's incredible. You're going to have a blast, but the opponents on the other side might not make it so enjoyable. Bill, Belmont, what's the early film study tell you?
Yeah. I mean, I think it starts with the Bleaky sisters. I mean, twin sophomores. One's the lefty guard, one's the post player. Mary's the post, number 25. I think it starts with them. I mean, now there's no disrespect to the other girls. I mean, when you look at Kitson, their point guard, she's solid. She shoots it at a 38% clip from three. Just doesn't take a lot of them. But then they got Laine French. I mean, she's a high level player as well. You got to be there on the catch for sure against her. So I mean, and then you got Crookberg, number 15. She's their other starter. They're like us. They're only going to play 7. They might get to 8. Hopefully we'll keep it at 7. But at the end of the day, like, they're just solid 1 through 5. So like when we talked about like who does this resemble, this is a Marquette Catholic game for us. You know what I'm saying? And the reality of it is like Marquette Catholic, when you looked at Addie Penzio, when you looked at Lanaya Davis, when you looked at Marissa Pleasant, and then their 2 other post players, I mean, you couldn't help. In our last 2 or 3 or 4 games, we've designated where that help has come from. With these guys, they all shoot it at a high clip. and they've got a really good post on the inside. So we definitely got our work cut out for us. But again, like, I love the fact that they want to play like us. They're not going to sit in the zone and just pack it in and say, if you can make shots, she'll beat us, because we felt like that's been what we've got a lot this year. So I'm excited for that. But, with that, we got to take care of business and we got to be aggressive. And if they want to come out and press us, like they've shown, they press Warsaw. So if they're pressing Warsaw, they're going to press Culver Academies, right? So at the end of the day, if they're going to come out and they're going to want to play that style and play that speed, like, we need to take advantage of it and be aggressive as well.
One last question, Laine, I'll send it to you. What has it been like around school, around the community here this week as you guys begin preparations for Semistate?
I guess school during the academic day, it's definitely been a lot of just like adults and like students just, hey, like, I'm coming to you guys' game. I'm even coming to the morning one, but it's just a lot of people like wanting us to, succeed and win and make it to state, because, like, I don't know, I just fan base around like the whole entire school is just so great. And, you can feel the love everywhere we go, just with CGA and basketball in general. So it's a really nice feeling. Just have, like, I don't know, like adults that I've never even met be like, hey, good luck this weekend. Like, rooting for you guys.
That's really awesome. I love it. Well, Bill and Laine, thank you guys so much for hopping on with us. Best of luck here this weekend.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Good luck. Good to see you again, Billy.
Bye.
Culver Academy with us here on the scores table. Do you have a closing thought on Class 3A, Danny, before we move on up to 4A?
I'm not so sure Belmont's going to man them. Again, that's their identity. It's what they do. Coach isn't wrong, okay? But neither are the statistics. Like, Laine Lyles shoots 36% from three, is an absolute weapon, completely took over the regional game. You needed to watch 5 possessions to be like, oh, my God, that kid's nice. That kid's different, because she is. The rest of the basketball team shoots 19% from three. Like, they're going to have to get some production from other people. Like, the teams are better here. The coaching is better. The scouts is better. There's a week to prepare. So that is the fascinating thing here. Laine is outstanding, and she is absolutely good enough to put a team on her back and carry them into the evening game. But we'll see if Belmont lets her.
16 points a game, 3 assists a game, 3 steals a game, shooting 42%. You mentioned the 3-point percentage. I mean, the kid's unbelievable, and she's only a freshman. Doesn't sound.
I'm not even sure the stat. I looked at the stats. Like, I picked out the 36% to highlight because I think some people maybe very unfairly categorize her as an athlete. She can actually shoot the basketball, but the rest of those statistics, I don't think do her justice. Bill actually said it in the interview. The kid could go out and get 30 if she wanted to, but she doesn't. She makes the right play. Like, that's the underlying theme in all of this, whether it's Ava Herbert or whether it's Laine Lyles. Like, these kids that are at the Molly Ernstis, we talked about it at the top, right? If a triple double is required, that's what these really good players are going to give you. Now, the difference is this: Laine is a child. Like, she's a 29. Like, Ava's a senior. Molly's a senior. Katie Reed's a senior. Ava Herbert's a senior. Laine Lyles just got here, so everybody better get used to that name.
So many good young players up there, too. We had Julie Sanderson on the show before. There's a kid over at South Bend St. Joseph. Like, there's some really good young talent from that northern half of the state.
Yeah.
Really
I actually said it when we were talking to Coach K that they're like that kind of South Bend area with Sanderson, Rowell, and Lyles. They are going to be very lucky to be able to follow those 3 kids for the next the duration of the next 3 years.
Let's get us up now to the 4A South. Let's go there, since that's where our guests will be. Going to be joined by seniors Ella Sprong and Hannah Jin from Center Grove, and then Jerry Hickey and friend of the show, Elise Coleman from Floyd Central. Let's start with Center Grove-Reitz. I wrote it. I believe it. It's always a close game if the Center Grove Trojans are involved.
Only is it a close game, but there's always going to be a kid not named Grayson Gilliard that makes a big play en route to a victory. That's what's unique about this team. I don't have any notes on Center Grove. I think people are probably going to get fatigued when they hear me talk about this, but here's the one thing that I would say about them, right? You have to be very disciplined as a basketball team and as a coach to play and to compete against Center Grove. And what I mean by that is this: like, they get stops. So they don't feel like they have to press on the offensive side. They don't feel like they have to take a lot of bad shots because they can get stops. I'm not sure if this is the exact statistic because I wrote it down somewhere or thought it somewhere and then probably forgot it. I'm not sure that there was a made field goal in the fourth quarter of the Pendleton Heights Center Grove game by Pendleton Heights until under 90 seconds left in the fourth quarter. They get stops. But when they are trying to be a little bit exotic, they had a triangle and 2 possession. They had a box and 1 possession. They also had a triangle and 2 possession where 2 were on Gilliard. Gilliard takes the double to the corner. Wagner flashes across the middle. Because of the rotation on the backside, Hupper had to protect the rim with Wagner in the middle, and Tapak steps up. They throw 1 pass, and she buries a 3. Gilliard didn't even touch the ball that possession, and they are making a play. One of the kids that we're going to have on, Ella Sprong, has been that kid several times too. And not just Lilia Tapak. It's not just Haley Wagner. It's not just Hannah Jen. It's not just Mackenzie Pierce. It's everybody. And Ella Sprong is, I would say this about her, Hank. She's a professional sub. The kid comes in, does whatever her team needs for however long Stuck decides that it needs to be. She runs onto the floor. She does her job. She runs off the floor. She gives everybody a high five. She sits down. She waits for her number to be called the next time. Then her number's called the next time, and then she goes in and does it. And this is not, hey, go set a screen for Grayson Gilliard. Sometimes it's, hey, listen, your defender is sagging into the middle of the paint. You've got to step in and make that 3. And sure as heck, the kid steps up and makes a 3. They have such a handle on who they are as a basketball team and what their roles are, and they star in those roles. But the roles aren't unrealistic. They don't ask everybody to do what Gilliard does. Right. They don't ask everybody to do what Hupper does for Pendleton Heights, their opponent. They just ask them to make plays when the plays are presented in front of them to make, and they make them. It's such a joy to watch. It's why they're undefeated. And since when has there been a 4A South team in the Indianapolis metro kind of suburban kind of area, off of 465? When have we had an undefeated team that is flying under the radar like this? I feel like they are. I don't know.
Oh, think they are?
Maybe they're not. Oh, absolutely. I think they are. Absolutely. I think if you ask just casually who the favorites are in the South, I think most people would tell you Lawrence Central, and none of those people are wrong. They're really good. But we've had years with this kind of resume where everybody would say Center Grove, and you get a mixed bag here. So I don't know. Maybe that's just who I talk to, and maybe the world in which I live, I feel like they're under the radar. But that's my read on them. But they just find a way.
Yeah, I would describe them as maybe underrated. I think Floyd Central's under the radar. Fair. I think that they're under the radar. Reitz is maybe a sleeper, and then Center Grove is underrated because when Lawrence Central beat Pike and Center Grove beat Pendleton Heights, my mind went to, I'll admit, Lawrence Central is the number 1 team left for whatever reason. But it was like we talked about beforehand, and I think we predicted this, is that Center Grove is going to fall behind early. They're going to find their footing. You're going to think they're dead. And just like the villain in a horror movie or whatever, they're going to come back to life for that final scare, and they're going to win in the end. Yeah. They're just like clockwork. They did it against Franklin Central. They did it against Pendleton Heights. Would not surprise me if they did it twice more on Saturday. It's just Kevin's got that thing running so well, and it's just such a well-oiled machine. It's crazy.
Somebody asked me leading into the regional weekend what I thought was going to happen in each of the 8 games. And I said, I wrote one sentence about every team to one of my friends. And I wrote things like, I think Norwell is going to win in a way that is all-time good, and I think it's going to change the narrative. I wrote things like, I think Northridge is going to continue to channel their inner Lawrence North and win in a very close game against Valpo. What I said about Center Grove was I think Center Grove is going to win in a way that makes everybody underappreciate them even more. And I'm not sure that happened to the fullest extent that I intended it, but I do think on some level they won in a way that doesn't really scare anybody in the 4A South.
But it should.
And maybe it should, maybe it shouldn't, right? But yeah, they're going to go down there and they're going to take care of they're going to be Center Grove, right? I mean, that's what they've always been. They're going to be the best versions of themselves. That's the one really unique thing I think about this particular basketball team, and every basketball team that we've covered, most of the basketball teams that we've covered on this podcast in the postseason runs have had to do something a little bit exotic or a little bit unique, or had a little individual nuance per game. Lawrence Central is a good example of that. Lawrence Central needed to control tempo, have long possessions against Pike, take their transition out of the basketball game. Center Grove doesn't seem to look any different in any basketball game. They just seem to focus on being the best version of themselves, and I think that's unique, and I think that's one of the things that makes them a really, really tough out and a really good team and makes them undefeated.
I've learned a couple of years ago to never ask Stock if they did anything different for any particular team or matchup, because the answer is always no. We just did our thing. We did it well and we won. I was like, all right, Kevin, I tip my cap. Next question, buddy. Yeah. With that, Danny, let's go ahead and bring on two of those players from that Center Grove team, joined now by Ella Sprong and Hannah Jin. How are you guys?
Good. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good. How's this week been treating you guys?
Good. It's been a grind.
For sure.
Yeah. So let's start off with that Pendleton Heights game and that ability of you guys to come back with everybody kind of contributing, I guess. Is there any panic, or is it just kind of confidence, even when you get down by 10 in the second half? Is it just kind of like an understanding we're going to continue to do our thing and we're going to pull it out in the end?
Well, naturally, there was a bit of panic from everybody on the floor. It was just really a matter of going into halftime, like talking to coach, like snapping out of getting in our heads and just finding a way to win no matter what.
Ella, if you could, Ella, just talk us through what you were going through, what's going through your mind in those moments.
I honestly didn't feel very panicked or anything, because I knew, like, we practice that kind of stuff every day. We're down, and like our scout team, they're really good at this stuff. We're down and coach is trying to throw us plays, and like to make those winning plays. He knows that's the kind of team that we are, and that's what we did.
Hannah, I want you to talk about Ella. I'm not sure if you were already backstage and heard the comments coming in. I called her professional, kind of stars in her role, whatever that is, and then just comes out of the game and gives everybody a 5, sits down, and then comes back in and does it again. That's my read. I don't really know, because I'm just a fan and just watching. You're with her every day. Is my read right? Is she just a professional?
100%. Her role is so important, and she does it so well. The sixth man is definitely a role that goes unnoticed a lot by most, and what Ella brings to the team is so important to us, especially when we're down by 3 and we need that shot, and she just comes in and hits it no problem. She does her role very well, and it's so beneficial to our team, especially with scouting practices. Like it's unbelievable.
Ella, reciprocate the bouquet toward Hannah, because we had Stuck on earlier, and Hannah was the one that he kind of centered in on most. And when he did that, I started watching Hannah. I started watching you a little bit more, and it seems like you're always deflecting the basketball. You play the defensive end so well. When you have an open shot, which is really the only shot you take, you don't take bad shots. So you just take open shots and you make them. Ella, that's my read on Hannah. That's what Stuck said about her. What is it in practice? What is it every day with Hannah Jin?
Hannah really is the glue to our team. She does so many things that make us who we are. Like, at the beginning of the year, we talked a lot about culture and how we wanted this year to go. And Hannah was a huge part of that. And just like her hustle and her grind every day, like she wants it just as bad as any of us. So it's really special to be her teammate for sure.
I'm going to give you guys both an opportunity to answer this, and I can't wait to hear what you say, but give us the in the locker room perspective of what in the heck Grayson Gilliard is doing this year. Like, it doesn't matter if it's ankles. It doesn't matter if it's at HSE. It doesn't matter if it's, down 10, 31-21 in the regional to Pendleton Heights. Like, Grayson Gilliard has been a boss. Tell us about what it's like playing with Grayson Gilliard.
Playing with Grayson is amazing. I've known her since I was a little kid. I started basketball with her. I'm going to finish basketball with her. She's one of the best humans I've ever met. like on and off the court. Everybody can see in the box scores that she's an amazing basketball player, but nobody really knows how she is as a person. And she's one of the best people I've ever met. She's so genuine and just a great friend.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Grayson is just she's tough as nails, but she knows her role and she knows everything that she does for us, but she is so unselfish with it and she's so humble. She's
Yes.
great. She's amazing.
She's the best team player ever. She's great.
Yes, she is.
What's the story on Lilia Tapak? Like I know that you guys probably aren't surprised, but it's 48-45. She completes the comeback when they're triangle and two. She hits the three. She should have probably hit that three in the next possession on box and one, quite honestly, but didn't. But then calmly steps to the line and goes 5 of 6 from the free throw line in the last 90 seconds. That is the second time in as many games, because she did that also in the sectional championship where she iced the game away at the line after throwing the no-look pass to Wagner. We just talked in the last interview to Laine Lyles, who was a really good freshman. Lilia Tapak is very high on that list also. So tell us what you're seeing from her.
Lils is phenomenal. I'm beyond proud of her as an upperclassman. She, from the beginning, she came in, she started to pick things up on the fly. Her ability to adapt and to learn things so fast is amazing. Because at the beginning of the season, I thought I was going to have to be the point guard. And she came in and it was go, go, go. And she's getting things down. And her ability to do that as a freshman is insane. And throughout the years, I can't wait to see how she grows as a player and how she develops, because she's phenomenal.
I could do this for a while with you kids, but for the sake of time, let's spin it forward. Let's talk a little bit about Reitz. What's the early read on them? What's the film say? What's Stuck saying? Surely you guys are going to say we're going to be the best version of ourselves. I get it, but talk about Reitz.
We've just done a lot of scouting and a lot of scouting for zone, because that's primarily what they do. A lot of it's just our toughness and, getting through traps and being who we are defensively.
Yeah, for sure. I think it's a lot of composure and just mentally we have to be there in that first game and take care of it.
Yeah.
So you both were on the semi-state finalist team that you had a couple years ago. What do you take away from that experience, and how have you kind of applied that here to this weekend in prep?
I remember that day like it was yesterday, and it just fuels my fire. Like to be able to be back in another semi-state, I'm hungry, and we're gonna get this.
For sure. Stuckmeyer always tells us to do our work early, and I think that's what we're gonna do this weekend. And we're gonna take care of it in those early first quarters, which against Pendleton we didn't have the best first half, but I think we're ready to learn from that and move on with it this weekend.
Were you guys pumped to see that you're going down to Jasper for this? Would you have preferred Southport? Is it cool to get away? What was your read on semi-state draw?
We were kind of hoping for Southport, but I've never been to Jasper. I didn't know about the location, so when we heard it was 2 hours away, it was kind of a shock. But we went down there and we practiced, and I like the court. It's kind of nice.
Yeah, for sure.
I've heard that part of the state is wonderful this time of year, so
yeah,
glad we all get to settle in for a 2-hour drive. So what does the rest of the week look for you guys? Do you drive down tomorrow to get out of school early, or?
Nope, we're just normal practice at home and then prepare for Saturday.
Okay, so just gonna drive down the day of the game?
Yes.
Okay. So for both of you guys, Hannah, you kind of alluded to it, but just what would it mean to get over the hump and to close out your careers at Cambridge Fieldhouse?
It would mean the absolute world to me.
Yeah.
My mom won a state championship at Center Grove, and so did my brother. And to be able to even experience what we have so far with my best friends and a team that I've grown to love and cherish, it'd mean the absolute world to me.
Yeah, I can agree. I want to win so bad, and I think all of us do. And just our chemistry off the court just makes it that much more special. And honestly, I know we all can't wait to get down there on Saturday and just do it.
Well, best of luck to you girls. Safe travels getting down there. And I'll talk to you Saturday from Jasper.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Good luck, girls.
Take care. Ella Sprong, Hannah Jin from Center Grove with us here on the scores table.
That was impressive eloquence.
Yeah. These kids, man, they're sharp.
They really are. The Center Grove they can drop down 10. They don't have to play all 4 quarters. Like because they get stops. Like they're always going to be in the game because they can string together these stops. You guys have heard me say this before, but like a lot of the statistics is around stops is you want to get 3 consecutive stops 7 times in a basketball game and increases your chance to win above 75%. They do that in every basketball game, and they're at 100% right now. But when they do put it together for 4 quarters, like that's what Ella was saying, that's clearly what Stuck is saying. Like we need to be ready from the get-go. You can hear it in these girls' voices. They are emulating what they're hearing in practice from Stuck is to come out and I would be surprised if they didn't try to establish maybe some of their go-to sets maybe early in the game just to try to maybe establish a little bit of rhythm. But this is a team because they get stops and because they guard that they're going to be in the game. So I think the critical thing is going to be not is Reitz going to get a 10-point lead? Is Center Grove going to get a 10-point lead? Because that is going to be a very difficult mountain to climb if you have to come back from double digits against a team that gets stops like Center Grove does.
That's your second game. The first game at Jasper, Floyd Central versus Lawrence Central, joined now by Elise, Coleman, and Jerry Hickey of those Floyd Central Highlanders. How are you guys doing?
Doing okay.
Good to hear you. Elise, I think you're muted. Jerry, how's it going?
Good. How are you?
Oh, pretty good. How's the week been treating you guys?
Pretty good.
Yeah. Kind of business as usual. We went over to Jasper today and shot. Of course, anytime you go to Jasper for anything, you got to eat the schnitzel bonk. So
that's right.
Just had a pretty good night over there today.
I love Jerry. By the way, ADD kicking in, but I love the Cardinals Sports Illustrated above your head. As a St. Louis native, I really appreciate that.
I appreciate that. This is kind of my Cardinals wall here.
Yeah.
So I've got all kinds of Cardinals stuff up. I'm from Missouri as well, so lifelong Cardinal fan.
I was born in St. Louis, so lifelong Cardinals fan. In fact, I was at the night after We Will See You Tomorrow Night with the David Freese one. I was there for the following night in Game 7 against.
I was too. I got pepper sprayed.
Yeah, I was there as well.
Oh, look at that!
Wow, how about that, Elise? Just preparations now. Second year in a row getting to do this. You've obviously done it on the softball circuit too. How do you prepare for this week? What is this like for you mentally, emotionally? How do you kind of keep yourself focused, I guess?
Yeah, I mean, just like Coach Hickey said, it's business as usual. I mean, he already talked about just how we just keep doing what we normally do. And I think a lot of people, when they have big games coming up, they try to change a lot of stuff. And I think the key is to not do that and just act like it's normal. I mean, obviously, we're watching lots of film, going through their sets and stuff. But, I mean, yeah, we're just every day. Well, we got some practice players, boys to come in to kind of imitate their length and speed that Lawrence Central has, which has helped a lot. But yeah, we went up and shot like we did in sectionals and regionals. So yeah, we're going to go through our walkthrough, watch some more film tomorrow, and then just go and play on Saturday.
Jerry, you've been really impressive this year, not only as a basketball team, but as a coach. I've admired really just your game flow and game management really as the year has gone on. About a year ago, you guys will remember this. You two were on the show, and Jerry, you said I'm paraphrasing because it was a year ago, but you were talking about how there's a lot of nuance to your motion offense, and the kids didn't really get it yet, and you were playing your best basketball at the end of the year. We're now a year removed from that comment where you were really starting to pick up. Is the team where you want it to be now?
I mean, we definitely have hit our stride, and I've had some people that have said, well, we knew you said last year that you had a chance to be better this year, and losing the 4 seed, we didn't really believe you. We thought that was just coach speak. And what do you think the difference is? And I said, now these girls have had 2 years in the system. And you mentioned our motion. We have 40 set plays against man-to-man. And these last few games, we haven't had to run them at all. We've been running our motion and just kind of our one continuity set. And when you get to this point in the tournament, the defenses are so good. You have to play more than call plays. And so we've been pretty successful with doing that here these last couple of weeks.
Well, I have a follow-up on that, and I'm going to direct it to you, Elise. I'm going to take both of you back to the Jennings County game. Elise, you hit the game winner right in front of Jerry to win that one at the Horn. Was that like, can you walk me through that play? Like, was that just read and reaction? And because it looked set, like it really looked like it was absolutely what was supposed to happen. The time and score execution was perfect.
Yeah.
You guys were you that locked in on that night where you didn't even call that, Jerry or Elise, I guess?
No, I mean, he drew that play up. I mean, it kind of happened a little bit like how it wasn't supposed to, because I'm pretty sure Brindley got the rebound and brought the ball up, and Mia was supposed to. So Brindley was supposed to come off a screen as well. And if I wasn't, or if she wasn't open, she was going to pass to me or vice versa. So Brindley ended up having the ball in her hands, which was a little bit confusing. But I still went to the corner, ran through the baseline cut, and then it looked like Brindley was about to shoot it. And then she found me in the corner. And just scored from there. But no, it was a great play draw by Coach Hickey. I think we did that the same play against Jeff, and Brindley had the shot, but it was just like a second or two late, but she actually made it. So it's just the same thing that he drew up.
And for the audience, you'll have to use your mind's eye on this, but that was a game where Molly Ernstos was like throwing in softball shots from the opposite volleyball line and hitting everything, and Floyd Central came out on top. So that was a great win. Jerry, I want to ask you about your defense, and it originates from actually that basketball game. I thought you were ahead of the game flow. I thought you were a mile ahead in that game. You seem to be in a rhythm. Your defensive calls, ATO, your defensive adjustments at breaks, like the quarter breaks and the half breaks, has just, I've admired it all year. Can you just talk about how happy you are or satisfied you are with how you guys are guarding this year?
And I think that's the key to our team. You kind of hit it on the head there. And, I can't take the credit for that. I mean, we've got kids that bought in. When I first came here last year, talked about playing zone, and you could see that they were just apprehensive about it in the beginning. And, last year, I think we ended the year giving 36 points a game. And right now we're at about 35 points a game. And we just have what it takes to play a great defense. We've got two quick top that can get out and cover shooters, and we've got length and athletes on the wings that can get out and take away that 3-point shot, and then we're 6'2" in the middle that can kind of clean up the mess when it gets past us. So it's a lot like my Salem teams that went to the state finals. I mean, same setup, two quick guards, the long wings, athletics, and 6'2" in the middle. So when you can roll that out there, they make you look pretty smart.
Let's get to the Lawrence Central side of things. Our familiarity with both teams, both Floyd Central and Lawrence Central, is high, I would call it. I think we know a lot about both teams. This one has all the makings. What's your early read, Coach Hickey, on Lawrence Central?
Well, it starts with their big three. Obviously, Lampley is probably the favorite to win Miss Basketball, and McDonald's All-American and all the hype, and she deserves it. One thing that kind of surprised me, and we've watched probably 15, 17 of their games already, is just how hard she plays. A lot of times when you have a great player, they kind of coast a lot of times, but she really gets after it. She's diving on the floor and playing like somebody just trying to make the team. So we know it starts with her, and then, of course, Butler, that's going to Boston College. I mean, is a great player. We know we have to find her on the perimeter. And then I think McKenzie's as fast and athletic as anybody we've seen this year, just driving the ball and surrounded by two shooters, number 1 Hyatt and number 20. And I mean, their starting fives lights out.
Yeah. Jerry, I have just from a coach to coach question. You said you watched 17 games. That's the kind of lunacy that I would impart preparing for a game like this too. Do you segment it into like, hey, this is what they do against, like, do you purposely watch zone teams or are you just like, I don't really care what anybody else did. I want to watch Lawrence Central. Just talk to me. I admire you as a coach. Just talk to me about your approach and your film study in preparing for a game like this.
Well, I always start with the most recent, first, and then definitely make it a point to get teams that have played the same thing we play against them. So we're looking for 2-3 zones. So Lakota West out of Cincinnati, they played Lawrence Central, and they play just like we do, just kind of the exact setup. And So that was a great game for us to watch. And it's games like that I show the girls, and say, hey, make sure we watch this one. And when you guys are at home watching film, zero in on these. Warren Central's been a good team for us to follow because they play a lot of 2-3 zone like we do. So I do definitely focus in on that. We can play man. We just haven't really had to be perfectly honest. So we'll kind of zero in on a couple of their main man-to-man, just actions and what they like to do. But I do really try to pick out what they're doing against zone.
Elise, I'll get you
and
guys out of
press break.
go ahead.
I'm sorry,
Jerry.
go ahead.
Go ahead.
I said, and really the press break too. We've talked about our zone so much, but our pressure in our 2-2-1 press kind of starts and dictates the tempo a lot of time.
It's been great this year. Yeah.
Elise, I'll get you guys out here on this one. And as a senior, I guess, just what would it mean for you to secure this trip to Gainbridge Fieldhouse for Floyd Central?
I mean, literally everything. I mean, you talked about how I've been doing this with softball, but still haven't gotten to go to the big state final. But it means everything. I think I was literally in the shower tonight and I was just thinking about how bad I want to win and how bad I want this for the team, for the coaching staff, for everything. I mean, it's not easy for the coaching staff to move from Salem and come down here. And I mean, Coach Hickey always says is that if he would have stayed at Salem, he might have had 2 more state championships just with the younger kids. So I don't know, it means a lot. And I really want to be able to play there. But starts with the game on Saturday, so can't really look too far ahead, but it excites me so much and I really just want to go out on top.
Jerry, you want to brag on her a little bit and what Elise has meant to you in the program?
I mean, she said winning this means everything, but I mean, she's been everything for us and for really Floyd Central sports over the last 4 years. When you look at volleyball in the semi-states and softball in the semi-states, basketball, she decided to play flag football this year, and she was leading the state in receiving, halfway through. And I had a basketball coach friend that was watching, and he's texting me, and he's like, she's like Randy freaking Moss out there. So, I mean, just from an athlete standpoint, I would venture that there is not another 4A athlete in the state that has won what she's won at 3 and now 4 sports. And, to do that with the 4.5 GPA and just to be an outstanding kid, I tell her and I've said this before at her signing, she's part of the reason why I wanted to come to Floyd Central, to have that opportunity to coach somebody like that.
Well, best of luck to you guys on Saturday. I'll see you down in Jasper and safe travels to you.
Good luck.
Thank you so much.
Thank you guys. Thanks for always being so involved with us.
Absolutely. Take care.
Thanks.
Jerry, Hickey, Elise, Coleman with us here from Floyd Central. Danny, we're going to go ahead.
You've seen the movie Remember the Titans. There's a scene in Remember the Titans where the Will Patton character, Coach Yost, he walks by Denzel's character, Coach Herman Boone, during one of the games and goes, he's a mile ahead of you, Coach. That's how I feel when I watch Jerry Hickey play. I just feel and it is like a debilitating, frustrating feeling if you're the opposing coach. I've been there several times and it's a helpless feeling. I just feel like when the ATO changes, the 2-2-1, the way he bounces back and changes his pickup points, the pressure points. I mean, he doesn't even trap the 2-2-1 in the same place every time either. There's so much nuance to the way that they defend that it's very difficult to stay ahead of them or even with them. If Hickey gets into that zone that I've seen him get into, they're a load for really anybody the rest of the way. Not to say that they're going to undeniably win, but he just seems to get ahead of the opposing coach and of the game flow. And I think that's a really good mark for game management.
With that, we're going to bring the conversation up to the 4A North now. And for that, we have 4 experts along with us now. Joe Huppenthal from Lake Central, Kelly Kratz from Valparaiso, Reggie Tharp from Fort Wayne Center, and Brian Satterfield from Hamilton Southeastern. Thank you all so much for hopping on with us. How are you all doing?
Good.
Well,
good. Pretty good. Rather be playing, but pretty good.
Yeah. That's fair. That's fair. I appreciate you guys again hopping on with us. Let's start with let's start with McCutcheon. Brian, you've obviously seen them recently. Reggie, you as well. I think everybody's seen them most recently. Brian, I'll start with you. What did McCutcheon do against you guys, I guess, to kind of contain that offense and keep you guys off balance?
I mean, I kudos to them. I mean, I watched probably 10 games of theirs, and I mean, seeing what they did and how they did things, how they played in our game I did not see that at all, especially from the defensive side of things. Offensive side of things, I think they went out and did things that they've been doing all year long. But defensively, I mean, they mainly played zone most of the year, and just seeing how active they were. I mean, they came out and threw the first punch in our game, and our kids just didn't react very well from that standpoint. And it was just a situation where I thought Lily did a good job of controlling, especially trying to eliminate what we tried to do from a pressure standpoint just to try and get us going. I mean, we hit the 2 threes early and then never could get going after that. And I think that just affected us with a lot of things going. But again, you got to give them a lot of credit with what they did and how they did it in that particular game.
Reggie and Joe, you guys also lost to McCutcheon during the season, so I'll keep it with you guys before we shift to Kelly, whose team beat them. But what did they do against you guys? What did you see from them in your guys' games?
Joe, you want to go first?
Yeah, sure. The Gibson girl really hurt us. She hit 4 threes, and I've heard, she had the injury, but that's going to be a big loss for them. Not only that, she hurt us on the boards, and obviously they have Graves and Wilburn, so they've got some punch. They are going to miss Gibson though. How you replace, 10 points and like I said, she hit 4 threes against us that were daggers that really hurt us. But to what Brian said, I have been watching some film, and I think he's spot on. Like defensively, like I think they've gotten a lot better. Jeff does a great job, and I think lately defensively has been a key for them as they've advanced in this thing.
Reggie?
I think what they do well, especially when they played us earlier in the beginning of the year, was mixing up their coverages. He does a great job of that. It kind of throws you off balance, especially in the beginning of the season. And then ultimately, when you're playing somebody like Lily Graves, your main goal is to stop her in transition. She's great at that. She'll get her own rebound. She'll push in transition. She's a great straight line driver, and her mid-range and outside shooting is getting better and better. So our focus was to stop her, and I think it's Lipscomb, the other guard.
Mm-hmm.
But the biggest thing I think is containing those two. Lily, like I said, is tough because she can do so many things and beat you in so many ways. And he runs great stuff for her too in the man-to-man set. We were trying to mix it up as well and give them different looks and, kind of trying to pinch the slot so she couldn't drive and get downhill. But he does a good job of like running some backdoor plays for her, and especially against the zone where you got to stay active and stay aware. But overall, they're just playing good basketball right now, and it's an experienced group as well.
Kelly, you're the one team out of this quartet that had success against them. You beat them. What was that, by 10 earlier or midway through last month? Just what did you guys do? What did you see from that game?
Yeah, they're a tough team. They're really effective when they're balanced. But I think that was where we had success against them, is we had 4 girls in double figures. So obviously when teams are out and playing our group this past season, Lily Barnes, our Lily, everyone's focus is on containing her, and other people are open, and Lily's our all-time leading assists kid as well. So she'll find them, and they were able to score. So we were able to hang with them as far as scoring is concerned. They did hurt us on the boards. It's one of the games that we did not win the rebounding battle. But we did get to the free throw line quite a bit, and that's kind of where it ended up drawing out at the end of the game.
With Lily Graves and game planning for her, is the focus, do you have to focus a lot on just her ability to facilitate? Like, obviously a lot of other kids, I guess just what I'm trying to ask is like, how do you approach guarding Lily Graves? What's
the biggest, I think Reggie touched on it. You got to stop her in transition. If you can contain her in the half court, you got a chance. There's not many that can one-on-one match up with her. It takes her 3 dribbles and she's down the court,
Yeah. How did you guys approach that one, Brian?
I mean, we came out. I mean, to be honest with you, that defensively, we were out of sorts. I mean, there were a few things that we did in that game. I mean, and talking about coverages that we didn't do very good. But in terms of her, I thought that, I mean, we were just trying to contain her. I mean, we know she can shoot it, but I mean, yeah, I think you got to try and have her beat you from the perimeter. But I mean, I think Lipscomb was the one that really got us.
Yep.
I mean, she's the one. She hit the 3 threes, had 20 against us, and she got going. We let her get behind us on the tip, and she hit that layup, and I think her confidence just grew from that. We did get that early lead, and then she hit that big 3 to tie it early in the first quarter, and I think it just things rolled for her from there. And she played with a lot of confidence, and I think she helped get that lead early, and then once they got the lead, we tried to pick up the pressure, but Lily does such a good job of controlling the offense and getting the ball where it needed to be, and we just couldn't string anything together against them because they played so well.
Lipscomb Alum seems to kind of be the scary one. Like when I watched them against Plainfield right before she went up to play you guys, Joe and Reggie, I mean, she went off against Plainfield and she went off, I think you guys mentioned in your game too. I mean, that kid's scary in big part of the game plan too. Is that fair to say?
Oh yeah, definitely. She's one you got to definitely account for. She can shoot the basketball. And then what we kind of picked up on in film, and obviously when I play, she can put the ball on the floor and get to the basket. And after playing her 2 years in a row, I've just been more and more impressed with her skill set and the way she plays. Like she's a tough check, and it just helps, it helps Lily out having a player of her caliber to take some of the scoring edge off, along with the other role players. They got great role players in with Trinity, and they got good size and good length and experience. Experience means a lot right now, this time of year. So he does a great job with them. And it's going to be a tough out for anybody that's going to come up against them at Semistate.
The team that is going to take the first crack at them, Northridge. Kelly, since you played the most recently, I'll just let you start the discussion. Hard-fought game comes right down to the buzzer. They sink a couple free throw or a free throw, literally just one free throw, and that's the difference. Just your takeaways, thoughts on that game with Northridge.
Yeah, they're a resilient group. You think you have a run that's going your way, and they punch back. Obviously very well coached, very well balanced. They bully you in there. They have a physicality across the board that you got to get ready for. And they run their stuff really, really well. So they don't go away. You know what I mean? So if you think that you have your lead and you're feeling comfortable, don't, because they are a resilient group, and it was a great game to be a part of. I'm sad to be on this end, but it was.
Brian, I'll ask you this because you have the most experience. But when you guys got over that hump against Noblesville in the sectional, that kind of felt like a launching pad for you guys. I guess just what does that do for a team once you get over kind of that, you finally slay that dragon that's been a pain in your ass for however many years? I guess just if you could just talk us through what that's like on the mental side of things for a team and their confidence.
Well, I think a lot of it, I mean, when I took over, it was first getting just beating Fishers, because Fishers knocked us off several times, and they were in the sectional and they made the run. And then you had Noblesville doing that with the teams that they have. And we were finally, the year before we were probably favored, but came out and got into a little bit of foul trouble, had the early lead, but then ended up getting down double digits, got into a little bit of foul trouble, had the opportunity to take the lead and couldn't, and didn't close it away. But then I think finally that following year we got it, and you could just see the mindset of the kids were a lot different. The confidence became a lot better. I mean, and going into that next game that we had last year against Homestead, you could just see, on that day when we came out and played that next game, that was by far the best game of the year for us. Just the way we moved the basketball, the way we shot the basketball. We had different people stepping up, doing great things. And I think that was and then we went to that following weekend and had opportunities, but didn't get that chance to go to the state finals. But and I think this year you can really see it in our sectional. Getting through that, seeing the confidence that the players played with when we were during sectional, even though we still had a few players that had never played a sectional game. And that's always one of the little scariest things that you have, is when you got people that haven't experienced before, how are they going to respond? And I thought our kids did a great job that night. Unfortunately, they didn't do as well of a job this past weekend.
Joe and Reggie, I'll ask you about that. The experience that Brian mentioned. Reggie, you had a very young team. Joe, you've had, the teams that you've had were young. The year I remember you knocked off South Bend, Washington in the semi-state championship. When you have those young kids, what do you do to prepare them for that stage, for that moment, that pressure and all that?
Well, I think you just got to think, you got to take, and some of the coaches have said it, you got to make things as normal as possible. And what we always did is we gave the kids off on Monday, and then we prepped and just, I think you just have to keep things normal because everybody's patting you on the back. Everybody's telling you how good you are and all that stuff. And then you've got to stay focused. And I talked to Doug Springer this week. I said, enjoy it because when you talk to coaches and they tell you to enjoy it, but you're just rip roaring. And 2 years removed from all of that, I sit back and say, did you really enjoy it? And almost now you sit back and think about the times and all that stuff. But I just think you got to keep things normal for the kids. You gotta do things just like you've done the whole season, in terms of walkthroughs, in terms of, all the things that you do. And I just think normalcy is really, really important right now.
What about you, Reggie? I mean, you've got a really young group, a super talented group. Obviously, they weren't totally unfamiliar with it, but it's still, that's a lot of kids you got, young kids that you got going into some big games.
Yeah, so what we try to do is just put them in impossible situations in practice. So like the whole week for Norwell, we went up and we played our freshmen and JV boys, and we had them throw their 1-3-1 at us. We even used multiple players on it, just making it extremely tough. But, it's nothing compared to going through the moment, like being in that environment, being in that setting where, it's all basically almost sold out. It's tough to hear calls. It's tough to hear your teammates. I think you just got to go through it. And it's one of those things I went through with my first group with Jordan Poole and Nate Donahue. You kind of get spoiled. Like you had those type of elite players that weren't afraid of anything, had been through the moment, and were used to it. So I just think with this group going through it, getting some experience at that level, knowing what to expect to play at that type of championship level, you just got to use it as a teaching moment, and just tell the girls you got another chance next year to go back. Obviously, at the time they don't want to hear it, but just playing in that environment, in that setting, it's something you can't simulate in practice. I just think it's one of those things where you got to go through it.
What's it like as a coach, Kelly? You got to experience it last year, the first time coaching at a semi-state. What was that experience like?
That was awesome. I mean, I was spoiled. I inherited a phenomenal player with Lily Barnes, and she plays at an elite level. Virtually every game you watch her, it doesn't matter the competition, she cracks to that level. So it was awesome. We drew HSE, and that was a great challenge for us. And to me, it was a great learning experience because being surrounded by just phenomenal coaches, it makes you better as a coach, and you learn a lot. So watched a lot of film in the off season, and this group, they made a lot of strides, and I was really, really proud of them this year. As far as, we went out, we played everybody that we could, and we prepared ourselves as much as possible.
Reggie, you alluded to the 1-3-1, and I think that's a good segue to Norwell because that's obviously what they like to do. I mean, I'll start the discussions with this. Would you agree with the assessment that Norwell is the team to beat in the Class 4A North now? And if not, who would you pick and say is the team to beat? And we'll start with Reggie and just work our way around the circle.
Yeah, me personally, I think they are. I think you guys touched on it like a week or so ago. They're just on a roll right now with that experience, that momentum. And I've coached against, a lot of great coaches and players, but I'm telling you, in that game, from start to finish, I just felt like Vanessa was not going to let her team lose. The way she was moving, she controlled tempo. She ran the point on both ends of the floor, offensively and defensively. She played with great pace. She made it tough on her guards to get in slots and gaps to penetrate, and she just hit timely shots. Like at points, I was like, man, we're weathering a storm. We're right there. We're down 7, in the first half, and then she just comes and she'll hit a 3 after a ATO or a sideline out of bounds or a baseline out of bounds. And I mean, to me, like right now, her will to win with that team, I haven't seen it a lot. And it just felt like, for the girls, it was just deflating. Like, yeah, we missed some assignments defensively, and we were just not locked in on what our scout was. Like I said, the environment had a lot to do with that, but at the same time, she had a lot to do with it. Eric's a great coach. He's got a great team. They got great role players, but I'm telling you, that's the head of the snake. Like she's on a roll right now that might just lead them straight to Cambridge.
Brian?
Well, to me, I think the style that Norwell plays, and I could probably get off on another tangent right here, but I'm not a big fan of having to play 2 games in one day.
I want to get on that tangent here in a bit.
But to do that, and especially if you've got to play them in the second game and you haven't really had a chance to prepare and try and get ready for that, that's going to be difficult for anybody. And I think if Norwell gets past that first game, that's one big advantage, because trying to face something like that, which you haven't seen and haven't worked on a regular basis, will be challenging.
Joe and Kelly, how do you guys read the 4A North scene?
Well, I will say this, Brian, and I have told people this a million times, and Brian touched on the 2-game situation. And we were really fortunate in that Valpo and Noblesville played each other in morning session of the semi-state. And we knew we were getting 1-3-1 if we got to the championship. So that took away one prep, which just it was huge for us. And I'll say that because, as you guys have mentioned, that 1-3-1 that they have, it is wicked from what I've seen. And our conference, Candy, when she was at Valpo, and then we ran into 1-3-1. Matter of fact, we had to change the way we approached it, and it really helped us on that run. So back to what Brian said, I think it's it's going to go through them probably because of that.
How'd you change your approach, real quick, Joe?
I'm sorry?
How'd you change your approach?
In terms of, well, we just had to how we were attacking it. We had to come up with some other stuff. It just wasn't, we were getting trapped in corners with some of the stuff we were doing. We just had to adjust to what we were doing. And so we've added a lot of sets versus it now, and it really helped us on our run getting to the state championship game. And again, I'll say, like, it was huge that we knew in that if we won, what we were getting in that second game. If Northridge would have beat Valpo, then we have Northridge, then you have Homestead, then you have a Noblesville prep. So now you have 3 instead of necessarily 2. And that was big in us getting there.
Kelly, I'd love your read on the 4A North picture in Norwell and everything that's gone on.
Yeah. We've now hit on all of them. We haven't talked about Crown Point. Yeah. And, it's kind of nice being the team nobody talks about, right? Because you have no expectations. And I think this group is just gotten better and better throughout the year. We played them early in December, and they continue to build on their successes. 6'4" is 6'4". You know what I mean? They've got a true big to help alleviate some of that pressure against the 1-3-1. So I could see that being something that could possibly cause problems. All things said, I do see Norwell, they just, when we played them, they made their first 5 threes against us. It was absolutely deflating. And you thought you're a pretty good defensive team for a while until you faced that dribble drive, But it's going to be a great game. And I look forward to watching it. Sustaining that effort and energy for 2 games. That's how they play the 1-3-1. I'm sure that they're in the best shape possible to go ahead and do that. But I look forward to it. I just think being Crown Point and being the team that nobody's talking about, that there's something to that.
I was going to ask you both about Crown Point and give them a little bit of pub, but Ava Ritchie, the point guard, they pulled off Hammond Central, or Hammond Morton. Just talk us through what you, Joe, and Kelly, what you've seen from Crown Point and the encounters you've had with them.
Well, I think Ava Ritchie is and for us, it was you have to cut the head of the snake off. And every time we played them, she was the focus. Now, as Kelly mentioned, they've got 6'4" in the middle. And then the girl that I love on their team, and it's the girl that hurt us the most in the 2 games that we played him, was Sydney Hale. Like she is kind of, I don't want to say the forgotten kid, but that kid always bothered us, and she had like 20 points in 2 games against us, and they have their other role players, so you just can't worry about them. Like we did a really good job of containing Ava in the 2 games that we played, but those other kids stepped up, and they've stepped up all year, and they do a great job. Brad does a great job offensively. They're really hard to guard. Now, with that, he's going to see a 1-3-1 the whole time. So, and we kind of play all man. So it's just different, and how they approach it will be interesting. But I think Kelly said it best, like nobody's talking about them. And if you look at this tournament from day one, I think we would all attest we're sitting here with these 4 teams, and, who would have thought, that these 4 teams would be there. But that's just how this tournament is. And I think for girls basketball, what it did for our state here, it shows that, you get upsets and all that good stuff. So I think it's good for the game.
So looks like Hank. Hey, Reggie, can you hear me?
We can hear you.
I can hear you.
Okay. So everybody can hear me. So while Hank messes with his camera, it looks like I got to try to be the journalist here. I'm going to circle it back. Like we saw Jason Simpson in the state championship game stay home on shooters. Kelly, you talked about how they hit 5 threes. This is Norwell's dribble drive. I think a lot of attention is on that 1-3-1. It obviously hurt teams like Homestead. But the true identity of their team really is that dribble drive. I mean, it really is. And I think the big decision that you have to make is how much help, where does the help come from, things like that. So, Kelly, can we just start with you? Like, what's your approach to guarding the dribble drive and shortening the gaps, and where to bring help from in playing against Eric Thornton's dribble drive?
We worked a lot on switching that kind of shuffle cut and trying to contain them on a side. They're excellent at it. There's no other way to put it. But we were able to just kind of keep up with them offensively, if that's a terrible answer, because they run it so well. So we were just trying to switch those shuffle pass type of things that they run through and contain them on a side that comes with a lot of communication. No help up from the post. We gave up open shots. We gave up 3. So we gap helped. We didn't stay home, and we took that risk. We tried to with different personnel, try to fake and get back. That's a scout thing, but that's what we decided to do against them.
Am I back? Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Danny,
yep.
Danny, did you have any other follow-ups or any game-specific things before I?
No, I just filled the gap there.
Oh, so. Thank you. Let's talk about the 2-game semi-state before we call tonight, because I think we're all probably on the same page. But just thoughts on that. Let's start with Brian and work counterclockwise, or whatever it is. Brian, then Joe, Kelly, and then Reggie.
Well, for me, they've when we had one class, we've made changes. Now we've got multiple classes. Sometimes they say they want to do it for tradition, but here's the conversation I've had with a lot of people. If you look at football, they play every game on a Friday. They get to their postseason, they play on Fridays. You look at all the other sports, almost every other sport, and I'd say, however their season is set up, their postseason is almost the same. However, when it gets to basketball, the most important time of the year, we go to sectionals and we're playing 3 games in 1 week. Most of us don't play 3 games in a week. Now it used to be regional. Now it's our Semistate, and we're playing 2 games in 1 day. And I think that's the toughest thing on anybody. I mean, to play 2 games in 1 day at the most important time of the year, in my opinion, is really tough and challenging. And I'm not a big fan of it. But and that's just my thoughts. And I think it would be very easy. And just seeing like with my daughter playing soccer and making that run, I mean, they played, instead of playing 2 games in 1 week or 1 day, they played a middle of the week game.
Yep.
And then turned around and played later that weekend.
That's right.
And I mean, it could even be Friday, Saturday. Yes. I mean, at least we do Friday, Saturdays throughout the entire year. Why not try to emulate what we do through the regular season when it comes to the postseason?
Joe, I remember sitting with you the year that you guys lost to Fishers in the semi-state final, and you just beaten South Bend, Washington, and it was just an understanding that, I mean, the girls were gassed. Like, they had nothing left in the tank. We just kind of sat back and laughed. Like, it's ridiculous.
And we've talked about this, and we've actually had to, you know, after we went through that experience, and until you're through it, you just really kind of don't know how to coach it. But we were just, everything was South Bend, Washington. And then we're like, well, hey, we got to win that game to get, you know, to the championship, and then we'll roll the dice. Well, we're literally with our kids doing an hour walkthrough trying to, and Fisher's just abused us on staggers, and it just wasn't enough time for us to get ready for that, what they were offering us. And I'm with Brian, like, it's really difficult to run 2 games like that. And again, I'll get back to our situation with the, you know, the Valpo Noblesville situation and the prep. Like, we're a prep team. So it's really, really important for us. And when you don't get that, it's now you're just kind of going out there and semi-winging it. And I don't know that that's really good for the kids, and especially when the stakes are this high at that, you know, when the stakes are that high, you know, give teams a chance, give them a chance.
Kelly and Reggie, I'd love your guys' thoughts too.
You know, I think most of us try to go to at least 1 or 2 a year of these shootouts that play 2 games in a day just to simulate perhaps what the semi-state could be, right? And it's still not the same. You know what I mean? You get down to postseason, you're 7, maybe 8 deep, and these kids are going every minute. And like Joe said, it's all or nothing for that first game. We prep to, I mean, the clips that you make and the scout that you provide for your kids, it's day in and day out. So then you don't have that opportunity. It just throws it off a little bit. You know, we'll play anywhere you want. You know, it is what it is. And I do think that there needs to be someone that we're looking at this, and what an advantage is to have that early game, because 2.5 extra hours is 2.5 extra hours that you get for rest and rehab and whatever you need to do.
Yeah, I'll just piggyback. I agree with Brian. I would love to play like a Friday than a Saturday game. I think that'd be amazing. It gives you more time to prepare, it gives you more time to scout. The biggest thing I remember my first year being an assistant is when we played Noblesville at Marion in the regional, where it was, you know, you had to win 2 to advance, just, you know, playing our hardest against, you know, Northwestern, and then coming back having to play Ashland Shade and Reagan Wilson, who played the earlier game, that were fresh. I mean, that was just, it was almost impossible. especially with how talented their team was. So, I think it's an easy fix. If you just go to a Friday, Saturday thing, I think you'll get the same crowds, you get the same excitement. I think you'll see a better brand of basketball with people being a little bit more fresh and ready to go. So it's definitely one of those things that should be up for a discussion. And I think all coaches will be in favor of that as well.
Have you guys heard from any coaches that like the semi-state doubleheader format? I think it was mentioned during the selection show for semi-state. I can't imagine if you guys were watching that, but I think they mentioned everybody loves it. And I kind of thought to myself, I don't think I've talked to a single soul on earth who said anything remotely positive about a doubleheader format.
Well, another thing, Hank, I look at is like I don't know the thinking or whatever, and people have asked me like why wouldn't you do the regional format and have the 4 teams? Like the more important game is obviously the semi-state. So if you have the 1 game format there, like, and then I think attendance wise for the regional, it would help attendance. I just think it's something that we have to look at and make some changes. I just don't know if this is the best way to do it right now. And I do think we need to look at it.
Yeah, if it was up to me, I would go back to a 4-team regional and I would play it over 2 days. And the reason why I would say a 4-team regional is because your team should be a little bit closer in proximity, and that way to be able to do the transportation issue. I mean, to try and do that semi-state, you'd have some teams that have to drive quite a bit of ways to do that. Back-to-back nights wouldn't be as fun, but I think you could do that at the regional.
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
And what's the best night of the season? It's semi-state, or it's the sectional semifinals on Friday night, right? When everybody's out, the gyms are packed. So if you're the activity association, and I think it's fair to say that money is a big part of this, like they want to make money. What better way to make money than to do it that way? And then the game Saturday, as you've all alluded to, the quality of basketball is going to be significantly better too. I don't know.
It's also a Saturday. So you don't have to take Saturday's game and play them all at 8:00. So from a fan perspective, you could play one at whatever 5:30, 7:30, and then we have the like up by Joe. We could take advantage of the central time. Now us fans, we can turn on the streams and pay the $8.54 or whatever it is, and watch now multiple games.
I mean, Brian, that's what they do for soccer. They stagger the start, at least boys and girls. I suppose that doesn't make as big a difference for you, but day and night semi or sectional finals makes it easier for fans of both schools to go see it. It seems like there's so many more intuitive ways to handle all this. One last topic while we have the 4 of you guys together: shot clock. It sounds like it's maybe gaining some momentum. Are you for it? Are you against it? You neutral? Where do you guys fall in the shot clock discussion? Joe, we'll start with you, then go to Kelly and Reggie and Brian.
I probably think that I will be. I am not in favor, and I'm going to tell you why. We went to Illinois this year and played with the shot clock. The shot clock was never right. The officials could not administer what was right. We got the ball one time. We never possessed it. They gave us 20 seconds. I'm asking them. It was just a disaster. Now, I don't know how your guys' situation is. Like, we go places here, they can't run a regular clock, let alone a shot clock. So what is that going to do to the game? And the officials were begging for officials. That's going to be another thing with them. I just think right now, not a good idea. Now, would I love to tinker with it and play with it if it was right? I think, yeah. But I just think the administrative part of it is just going to be a disaster.
Kelly?
Yeah, we haven't played it yet. I haven't experienced that. I believe you. And I mean, I foresee that this is happening. I think I don't think it's a bad progression for our game. Up-tempo play is probably best for our kids regardless. I think it would help with the flow, but there are a lot of steps in order for it to be a successful implementation. But no, I mean, as somebody, and we all just love studying film and watching film, like now getting these new analytics about when we score and how we score and, bringing that to the table, it would be a great challenge. So I'm for it. Give me a few years, but I'll be good with that.
Yeah, I hear what Joe's saying. Like, I get that, but I really would like it. And the reason being is like we get a lot of girls too that like to play at the next level. Um, so I think it'll be helping them. And right now, with Indiana being one of the only states without a shot clock, I feel like we're kind of behind a little bit. Yeah, there's gonna be some kinks in it as far as like getting people working it, officials scoring and stuff like that. But I like the tempo. I would like to play at that pace. I would also like to see him add, like maybe we could advance the ball with a timeout as well too, like they do in college. I think that would be great too. If we're going to take these steps moving forward to advance our game, I think that would help as well. But shot clock is definitely something you're going to have to start implementing in practice. Everybody here's team, everybody's coaches here on their team, they like playing with pace. So I think that's the way the game should be played, up tempo, fast. But there's definitely going to be a lot of adjustments moving forward with it. Like Joe said, as far as on the administrative side, but I'm for it. I would love to have a shot clock.
Yeah, I voted for it, but I know, and I personally had the experience because we hosted the Chipotle games, and I ran the shot clock. And even for me, knowing the rules, I mean, I made mistakes. Going to what Joe was talking about, you're going to have some average person who doesn't understand the game of basketball sometimes trying to run the shot clock, and it'll probably bring nightmares. And I mean, I think when you first try it, it's going to be a rough go. Hopefully you eventually get to the point where it could work. But I mean, I'm for it, but at the same time, I know it's not going to be easy. I mean, the cost standpoint of it's going to be tough, but then also, I mean, just getting people there to do it and really understand how to do it and all that type of stuff.
And I would also say our game's kind of hurting right now a little bit. Like, does this like really like separate? Our score is going to be worse. Like, what's going to happen with that? Like, you're forcing, teams to shoot it quick now. Like, how does that? I would like to see it.
I will say this, Joe, because one time when the topic first came out, there was in our sectional. There were some games where they really held the ball. So I went back, and this was after the season was over. I went back and I watched every possession. And in this particular game where the score was ended up being in the 20s, there were only 5 possessions that were over 40 seconds. So I mean, I think it will have a small impact, but I don't think it's going to have as big an impact as a lot of people think it will.
I would also add too, and I know Reggie can't hear me.
I can hear you now.
Pace is only one side of the argument. I think it strategically changes situations in late game. For example, down 3 with 39 seconds left is a foul in the game now. With a shot clock, it might not be foul, particularly when you bring into what Reggie's talking about, ball advancement. With a timeout, now you get to stop, you advance the ball, and then you draw your ATO sideline out of bounds for 3. It kind of lends to more strategy toward the end of the game. I think it's not necessarily the pace or the length of the possession. I think it just changes those 2 or 3 possessions toward the end of the basketball game that could swing who the winner is.
Yeah, I mean, like for us this year, I mean, we had Kennedy, so if we had a 5-point lead with 4 minutes to go, we pulled the ball out.
Right.
I mean, if we had a shot clock, we couldn't do that.
Right. And then I was talking with a coach this year. I forget who it was. I think it may have been Rod. Like it brings a lot more strategy into play. Like, with like Danny said, like as far as being down 3 or, knowing how many possessions you have, you know what I'm saying? And you just got to keep track of all of these different things now. And you can't just sit on it and hold the ball. Like you got to make sure if you want to run clock, you got to get a quality possession. So I think it's going to bring some strategic stuff into play as well.
Well, that's a really good point that Reggie made. Like with like Sat, you still would bring Holman out. You would just now that possession now has a different meaning. Like you now have to be able to run 25 seconds of false motion, then get into what you want to do, And that is that. Then the true championship medal of clutch teams really comes out in that scenario.
I will tell you this: when we went to Illinois, and our coaching said we didn't think it was going to affect us. It affected us tremendously. We weren't ready. I think we had, 3 chucks because we were going to get a violation. And I think it will definitely, have to change how you approach games. Like, absolutely.
Any other hot button issues you want to get to? Do you want to tackle the transfer rule? Anything else that we want to try and dive into? We're good to call tonight.
That's about 6 hours, and we don't have
Well, thank you guys again so much for hopping on with us. If you want to hang around here, we're going to wrap this up and we can talk a little bit backstage off air. But again, thank you guys so much for hopping on with us. Really appreciate it. And congratulations to all of you guys on phenomenal seasons.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We thank all of them for hopping on with us. Danny, where are you going to be, or what are your plans for the weekend?
Oh, I don't know yet. I don't know Saturday night because I want to see who wins. The morning game, I'll probably I'll go proximity, like probably Southport would be my guess, but
yeah,
I don't know yet.
You can find me in Jasper, Indiana for the duration of Saturday, unless both Reitz and Floyd Central advance, in which case I will be somewhere else. We'll have reporters at Southport for sure. I think we're going out to Greencastle as well. So we'll have reporters all over the place. Be sure to follow on Twitter for all the coverage. Also, subscribe to IndyStar, subscribe to this channel. Dean and I will have a semi-state recap show at some point on Sunday, time TBD. We'll also have preview shows and then prediction show next week for the state finals as well. Thank you, everybody who watched these 2 shows. Be sure to go back, watch. Everything's in the description, and we will talk to you later this weekend.